All right, it says I'm live, and hey there, Jeremy Power, first guy on there. I hope you're doing well. Pretty much just relax and sit back, and we'll see what happens next. But yeah, hope you're doing okay. Just been very, very busy. Just taking a bit of a break for an hour or two to do a stream and get right back into it. There'll probably be about, well, yeah, there'll be about 3, 4 requests a day. Can't believe the month already coming to an end, but it is what it is. Hey there, Bobby. Hope you're doing well. How's it going? Hello there, Michael. Hope you're doing well. All right, so yeah, I haven't looked at the movie news, so I don't know what's going on with all that. So I don't really look up movie news anymore anyway. Hey there, Aragorn. Hope you're doing well. And yeah, sorry, I'm pretty bored today, so I don't know what else to say. Hey there, DJ. Hope you're doing well. The Maid 2, like the idea of a crap, because I did not like the first Maid, because the first Maid sucked. Ever play Final Fantasy? I played Final Fantasy 7 back in the day. Oh, the video you sent Bobby? Thank you once again, Bobby. Yeah, it was a funny video. Office, linebacker. Uh, I probably had seen those ads back in the day on TV commercials, but didn't retain my memory. But yeah, the video you sent was pretty funny. Office linebacker. What if the office was like sports and had a linebacker? I didn't. I probably had seen that commercial back in the day, but it's been so long since I've seen it. But it's kind of funny. Not kind. I thought it was pretty funny. It's pretty entertaining for a TV commercial. So didn't mind it. But thank you, Bobby. Never played the PS1 Ghost in the Shell game, so can't say anything about it. Never played it, so yeah, can't say anything about it. But yeah, I played a decent amount of PS1 games, but that was not one of them. I played Silent Hill. I played Resident Evil 1 and 2. I played Metal Gear Solid. I did play Final Fantasy 7 back in the day. I haven't played that for like 20 years. And that was the last time I played a Final Fantasy game. So, uh, nope, Michael, no one's requested Evil Dead Rise. Nope. Dead Island 2. I think I played a bit of the first one. I got bored pretty quickly with it. So, yeah. Well, if it's set in LA, then how is there an island? Is LA an island? Like, State from LA? And if it's set in LA, how's it an island? That Island 2 is pretty cool game set in LA. And is LA an island in the game? Otherwise, how's it an island? Oh, they just kept the title. So, is there an island in Dead Island 2? Nope, don't care about Godzilla versus Kong 2 because I didn't like the first one. So, why would I see the teaser? Yeah, let me see a teaser to a sequel to a film I didn't like. Doesn't really make a lot of sense, does it? So I just see more crappy humans who are boring and have no charisma. Uh, I don't have any favorite scenes or moments. I just saw the one commercial you had, and that's all I saw. So I don't have any other favorite scenes or moments of Terry Tate because that's the only one I saw. So was the first one. So I'm sorry, Bobby. I don't have any favorite scenes or moments. But thank you, Bobby. I appreciate that. Thank you, though. But no, I have no interest in Godzilla versus Kong 2. Because again, I thought the first one wasn't that good. And people talked it up like it was the bee's knees when it came out, but then you hear no one talking about it nowadays. This is the best movie. I remember when it came out, this is the best movie, and now no one talks about the damn movie. Because you don't get much of a versus in a movie called Godzilla versus Kong. There's not much of a versus to it. It's mostly stupid humans jibber jabbering, talking the night away, or Millie Bobby Brown being back in town, being annoying and unlikable. Wow, what a great. Hey, Darth Goldust. Hello there. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, YouTube never puts out notifications. Didn't see Stream 6, had no interest. I'm sure it is boring and lame. It's Stream 6. Well, Michael, that's the problem. Versus movies should be. Yeah, and guess what? Most versus movies have sucked. I wonder why. Dolph Goldust. How are the cats? You mean other than the one who died? Yeah, those are alright, I guess. Preliminary, yeah, I'm doing alright. Yeah, I'm doing alright. Just relaxing. I'll be on for an hour or two and see what happens. I doubt Fast X will bomb. Fast 9 didn't bomb. Yeah, I know there's a hard target 4K. Just haven't bought it yet. It's cool, Tim. Thank you. But yeah, I know there's a hard target 4K. I just never got it. I was going to get it, then they had the issue with needing replacement discs, and then when that was fixed, I just never got around to getting it. So, I mean, I already have the film on Blu-ray. I doubt the film will be that much better in 4K. Dog Gold does never saw Velma, so can't say. Didn't see Velma. Michael, have you seen Godzilla Final Wars where 80% of the movie's fighting? That's what I'm talking about. Go watch Godzilla Final Wars. Hey, Dave S. Patrick, I'm doing all right. Just relaxing. Well, Michael, that's not my problem if CGI is too expensive. Maybe go back to the older practical suits. Yeah, I expect more than 13 minutes of fighting in a Godzilla versus Kong movie. Oh wow, right, Uncle Bill. I'm glad you got your internet, man. Um, yeah. Do you want to do it on your channel or this channel? It's fine with me either way. I'm up for any time. I'd ask you to come on, but you're probably very busy because finally got my internet going. I got a lot of shit to catch up with. But yeah, I'm down for it, man. Whenever you wanna, either channel, don't matter to me. Go for it. Hey, Dark Metal Spider. Yeah, just let me know. We'll do it. Then could be your channel, this channel, don't matter where. So just let me know, man. Sounds like a plan. Hope you're doing. Glad you got the internet got going. Yeah, just flip a coin. Yeah, just pick a date or yeah, just pick a night. I'm open to any night. Just pick a night. What night you want to do it? Hey, Jesse Diaz. Hey, Arcade. Hey, Alter Ego. Hope you all doing well. Hey, Uncle Bill, man. Sounds like a plan. Sounds good to me. I'm down for it. I know sometimes Stum and Mark and me want to do another commentary, and I think we have the film we're going to do a commentary on, but it's a film we like. It's a film we actually like. Uh, Actually, you know what? Maybe Uncle Bill, maybe if you want to come on, hop in there, let me know. Be the three of us watching a better. Well, actually, I don't know what your thoughts on this film is, but I know Stum and Mark and me liked it. And I'm not sure if this week or maybe next week. I have to look at my schedule. Hey, Rapid Kirby. Arcade, I reviewed those movies. I have a review of Ambulance on the channel Arcade. Who's Teen Gore? Shouted me out. Who's Teen Gore? Jesse. Is he like another YouTuber? I mean, I don't know. I've never heard of Teen Gore. Who's that? Oh, I mean, there you go. I don't know if Uncle Bill's still in here. Did you see Evil Dead Rise? Is everybody's talking about it? I didn't see it. Hey, Dairy Blow. I didn't see much of Dexter. Uh, Stuntman, Mark, and me, we were thinking of a film, and let me find it first. I got it over here. I'll just show it. Bear with me. Let me look at the wall. Let me find the movie. Me and Mark sometime are going to be doing a live stream commentary. This is a film we both like. I didn't even play that. The damn computer. Wow, that was perfect timing. There you go. We're going to be doing this movie sometime because we both like this movie. Because I offered like three movies because we did Terminator 3 and it's a shitty movie. So I'm like, let's do a good movie. He's like, yeah, I like that movie too. So this is a film we both like. When last time you've been to a graveyard? This time we teach you on Star Search. Have you ever run the picker? This guy's accent is insane, but I love it. I sincerely love this movie. Yeah. Yeah, this film I always enjoyed. I always thought it had Brad Dourif scene stealing role as the rat exterminator. He's a bad guy you love to hate with an insane accent. I love the creature. It's a slow build movie, but I like the environment. That's my favorite part of it. Is the environment is so gritty and dark. Hey, Jedizilla, and it's such a the environment is such sweaty and dirty and grimy that I think it sets up a good atmosphere. And the movie's only 89 minutes. So, so you know what, folks? You don't have to make movies 2.5 hours. Ain't that crazy? But hey there, DJ. So Gary Blow likes Graveyard Shift. Does anybody else like this movie other than Gary Blow and me? Sadly, the director didn't do anything else because this film bombed in 1990. You know what's funny is that this guy's actually in Terminator 3 in a bit part. I didn't even think about that. David Andrews, the star here. I mean, it doesn't have a lot of gore, but I do like the creature effects and kind of like Alien, where you don't see it much until the reveal at the end, which is it's a basic but very solid, in my opinion, monster movie. I'm a sucker for monster movies. In that one in particular, The Blob. That's one that if you can't do Graveyard Shift, either me, you, CT, or someone should do The Blob sometime, man. Have you guys done a commentary on The Blob? Yeah, Stephen Mott is great in that. I love his accent. Yeah, blue collar folks. That's what you don't have nowadays in movies. You don't have blue collar, just normal people. That's the thing I've seen in a lot of horror and monster movies. It's always people who are from a catalog or from the CW show, or they're very prim and proper. No one's ever just I don't know, I say normal looking, but just typical people working, getting their hands dirty. You never get to see that type of cast or characters. That's one of the reasons I love Leviathan, this movie, Alien. I miss those type of characters. But yeah, this one's definitely worth a watch if you like monster movies. It's not wall to wall action. It's not the fastest paced, but like from the beginning, where it's the slow pan over this graveyard and this very subtle, creepy musical score and this textile mill. Let's say from the get-go, you just see how gritty and just how grimy and dirty and 6 months ago, I got to chip back on that. How the hell did I miss that? I probably was there, saw it, and I forgot because my brain's out of it. It's been out of it lately. Been a lot of busy with shit. Nope, I don't like anchovies. I don't know where did this talk of anchovies come from. No, I don't like anchovies. AMC, huh? You saw this in AMC? That's cool. The first I saw this was VHS because I always thought that cover was pretty interesting cover. It's based on a Stephen King story, but I think the story sucked, to be honest. I think this was much better. Uh, sure, Predator. When is Alien Day? That sounds fine with me, Predator. When is Alien Day? I don't know which day Alien Day is. Worst Stephen King film? The worst? Trucks. Thinner. I'm doing well, Caleb. Thank you, man. April 26th. So that's tomorrow? I mean, it's pretty last minute, I guess, to try. I mean, it's pretty last minute. It's only a day in advance, but I guess to try to do it. But Thinner, I remember Thinner. I didn't like Thinner. Uh, a lot of people defend that movie, Thinner. A lot of people defend that movie. I don't really know why though, because I remember the lead guy was RoboCop in RoboCop 3, and none of the characters are likable. Which I know some movies can. Reservoir Dogs doesn't have likable people, but yeah, I know I reviewed Thinner. I'm just saying, I remember not liking the film, and I don't really know why people like it. Uh, it's about horrible acting decisions that make it a fun watch. I try to remember what acting decisions those would be. I just remember being kind of boring. Where, yeah, Robert John Burke was the lead. Premiere. I mean, I could do tomorrow. I'll ask them and Mark, and if he can't, I'll just do it solo. So, Jedizilla, that's fine. I don't care if people use clips of my videos. Bad. I don't care. Yeah, the Robert John Burke's getting a blowjob, and then he hits someone with a car, and then everybody is a piece of crap character, and everybody's horrible. There's no one to root for. The most likable person is the damn hitman. And was it Joe Mantegna as a hitman? Hey, Derek. Oh, the lizard judge. I forgot about that. Well, no, I didn't forget about that. It just you see him briefly. Yeah, there was a chick with a slingshot. Hey there, Sloan. Was it Joe Mantegna in Thinner who played the hitman? Or was this another actor? He was actually the one part I liked in the movie because Robert John. It was Joe. Okay, because Robert John Burke is a lawyer. You know, I reviewed the film and it's already leaving my fucking brain. That's how good that fucking movie is. That's the thing with me. If it's a bad movie, a lot of times it leaves my brain, and I'm like, fuck it. But yeah, the worst Stephen King film. That's how it came about. Trucks is probably the worst. It's one of the worst. Trucks with Timothy Busfield. Uh, the other, what was the another be the worst? What was that? Cell. Cell is pretty up there. No, I think Trucks is worse because Maximum Overdrive is literally one of my favorites of all time. And you took Maximum Overdrive and you sucked the soul out of it. So you have Timothy Busfield learn from slow ass trucks in a made for TV movie. I'm like, this is a disservice to Maximum Overdrive. But Cell, yeah, Cell sucks. Well, if I think tomorrow I'm going to be busy because someone's sending in a request for me to do Alien Resurrection. So I would say Friday. Let's go with Friday. Hey there, Eric. I'm doing okay. Let's go with Friday. We could do it on your channel or my channel. Don't matter. Like I said, it don't matter to me. Flip a coin. Don't matter to me. You know, let's do it on your channel because people haven't seen you for a while, and let people know you're alive. Says the damn internet companies screwed you over with a shitty modem. I love Maximum Overdrive to death. But again, Trucks is like a shitty version of it. So let's go with Friday. Because, like I said, I think I'm going to request now to do a commentary on Alien Resurrection tomorrow. And so, if that's the case, yeah, get Stum and Mark there as well. Yeah, there you go. That way, people are like, where you been? Where's Uncle Bill? I can't wait to hear the story about the internet. All I know is that they screwed up the modem. You sound like what was it, Jim Cornette when, what was that, Spectrum? Is it Spectrum? Do you have Spectrum internet? And I'll message them and Marcy if you can do tomorrow, Alien Resurrection. I'll message after the stream. Dark Gold does. I review the film, you people. Just check out my review. Was it Spectrum? Was it really Spectrum Internet? Was it Spectrum? See, a lot of times people say something sarcastic, and I'm such a frame of mind, I never get sarcasm. Or I get sarcasm, but then I never do when people are serious and joke. I have this malfunction in my brain doing that. Hey, Jack Frost, hope you're doing well. I do like Casino. Yeah, Casino's a good movie. Yeah, Matt's Overdrive. Hey, Samuel, hope you're doing well. But yeah, what the hell was I saying? Oh yeah, Cell. That was an awful movie. Stephen King film. When it got to the football field and everybody's mouths are open and it's having the troll song. Tra-la-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. Hey Manny, hope you're doing well. I don't know how the hell someone makes that and they think that's a good scene to film in that film Cell. If anyone's seen the movie Cell with John Cusack, can you tell me, even if you never directed a fucking film, hey there, Sean, if you never directed a fucking film, how do you film a scene where everybody's mouths are open and they're all having the la 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 from like 100 people on a football field as they're look like they're stoned? How do you film that and think that's worth the shit? How? Did someone explain that to me? And people get paid for this. I don't care about a Barbie movie. Why would I care about a Barbie movie? I don't care about Craven the Hunter. I don't care if it's NC-17. I don't care about a Craven the Hunter movie. Okay, Premiere. I'll message Mark tomorrow. And if he can't, I'll try to do the solo. So thank you. I'm pretty sure it really was Spectrum. Oh shit. Damn. Hey there, Lord Cosmo. Hope you're doing well. Fucking Spectrum. That's that's ironic, man. I just re-listened a couple days ago a playlist of Jim Cornette yelling about Spectrum, and then that fucking shit happened. Thank you, Predmanera. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Again, I'll message Mark after this. And did you mention what time you were thinking tomorrow? What time you were thinking? Uh, yeah, well, there's not really any difference between the two versions, Black Punisher of Alien Resurrection. It's just like the very, very opening is different for like a minute or two, and I think the very, very end is different for a minute or two. So I guess the theatrical. I don't care about fast sex. I don't care if it bombs. Good. Gives a shit. I don't. The Conjuring film, the last one sucked. Conjuring 3, 8 p.m. Yeah, I could try. Yeah. Javier Bardem, sure. I liked him in Skyfall. Uh, Dark Metal Spy, I probably took it down for whatever reason. I can't remember the reason for it. Unmasked Part 25, what about it? No, it's not a porn film. I haven't seen it, but I've seen enough clips. It's like a seems like a quirky take on horror and slasher movies. Um, I didn't know I had an IMDb page. Why would I have an IMDb page? I don't know why I would have one. I don't know the worst movie I reviewed, ranted on. I always go back to Feeders 1 and 2. Feeders and Feeders 2, Sleigh Bells. I always go back to them as the worst. And no, I don't care about Final Destination 6 because the last one I cared about was part 2. Mainly for that cool car power up at the beginning. Do you give a crap about Final Destination 6? And why do I care about a Gran Turismo movie? So many of these movies, I'm like, why should I care about a Gran Turismo movie or Fast X or Final Destination 6? Coolie High? No, I've never seen Coolie High. It's cool, Terminator. I mean, we'll see what happens. Thank you. But yeah, I'm just kind of shooting the shit and just relaxing and Cities the Red Door. I don't probably the last time I saw in Cities film was the first one. If I saw the second one, it was like bits and pieces. I don't see the other stuff. I didn't know Sylvester Stallone movie reviews was a movie, but okay. I don't know who put that on IMDb, but that's funny actually. Jonathan Mills, when have I ever said I liked Final Destination 5? And how would I like it because you enjoyed it? That doesn't make any logical sense. I liked it, so that means you like it. That doesn't make any sense, Jonathan Mills. I watched the trailer for the new Insidious. It looks exactly like you expect. Patrick Wilson's directed it. Oh, the actor who was in the well, yeah, he was in Insidious movies, the first two. He was in the Conjuring films. I'm not surprised. I mean, the last one I actually remember is the first Insidious. I'll probably say I like the Conjuring 1 and 2 more than the Insidious movies. I don't remember the last key. Ooh, the keys for fingers. I good. Stick them up someone's ass and open it up like a stopwatch. I don't care. By the way, did anyone see Evil Dead Rise? I didn't see it, but did anyone see Evil Dead Rise? I didn't see it. It was funny. I have a friend, Michael Keane, the choice voice, great guy. He didn't like the film, and then people were pissed at him, going, "You just hate everything, Michael. This is a movie classic. Why didn't you love Evil Dead Rise?" He explained why. If you liked it, cool. I saw it. I've heard of Evil Dead Rise. Looked generic. Don't plan to. Haven't seen it. Uh, yeah, they got pissed at him. If people like the film, that's fine. I have no interest in seeing it. Really, man. Now, God, I wish I could get you on here so you could explain to me. Maybe the Q&A. I want to hear your thoughts now on Evil Dead Rise. I want to hear your thoughts on it. God damn it! I want to hear what your thoughts are. Wait a minute. What? Okay, I haven't seen Evil Dead Rise to be fair, but I'm damn skippy, pretty damn sure that will be better than Evil Dead 2. I'm making a prediction. Capitalize on the diction. I have a feeling that I'm going to like Evil Dead 2 more than Evil Dead Rise. I know it's just a feeling. It's just nostalgia. That's why. He's like the older movie better because of nostalgia. Well, first, let me get to this first. Thank you, Bobby Reynolds. I appreciate the super chat. Thank you, man. What is Sylvester Stallone, Arnold, Dolph, Chuck? That would be awful because I'm not a fan of the Power Rangers. Give me Ninja Turtles any day. Ninja Turtles hit the shove. I'm not a Power Rangers fan. I mean, even with that cast, I would still be like, this is awful. This would be awful. So no, I would not want that because I'm not a Power Rangers guy. Never have been. Uh, you know what's funny? I'm uploading a request. Someone wanted me to react to a video he did, and it's his opinion. That's fine. But it was 31 Unholy, like ranking the 31, and he put Blair Witch 2016 above the original Blair Witch Project. And he said the Poltergeist remake and the Omen remake was better than the original Blair Witch Project. And I'm like, really? I mean, it's if I did a list, people would be so pissed at me because you half of the list you guys would disagree with. So who am I to talk about disagreeing about a list? If I did a list of any of that, most people in here would be like, "What the fuck you talking about, man? You fucking idiot! What the fuck you do?" So who am I to bitch about someone's list? So, but I can still disagree and be like, "What the fuck?" So no, I don't think I highly doubt Evil Dead Rise is better than Evil Dead 2. And no, I don't think Blair Witch 2016 or the Poltergeist remake is better than the original Blair Witch Project. That's just my opinion. Cody Leach, he reminds me of Danny McBride. That's what I did in the video. I'm like, it's Danny McBride. I love Your Highness. That's really what I kept doing. I love Your Highness. But Blair Witch Project, how is Blair Witch 2016 better than the original Blair Witch Project? I don't get that. How is the Poltergeist remake better? I don't get that, but a lot of people hate the Blair Witch Project, and I don't agree with that. I love that film. I love the original Blair Witch Project. I was obsessed with it when it came out, and I did not know anything of the marketing because we didn't have the internet. I saw two TV spots. I saw a Cisco Eva review, then I saw the film VHS, and that's how I got hooked. So it wasn't a viral marketing thing because we had no internet at our place. It was literally just I had not seen a film like that, and I really enjoyed it. Well, thank you, Michael. I appreciate it. No, Michael, you're fine, man. How to Become a Tyrant? No, never heard of it. Saw Blair Witch in the theater. I actually have a version that's like 2.5 hours of the original Blair Witch Project. I prefer the theatrical cut. It was interesting to watch. But yeah, it was like a 2.5 hour version of Blair Witch Project. So I have it on my computer. I think I uploaded it to Mega to send it to someone. But thank you, Michael. But okay, anyone who saw Evil Dead Rise, like Uncle Bill, if you're still, can you at least give a little bit of tidbit to your thoughts on it? I really want to know, man. Okay, I'll go on Instagram then. And that's the way to do it. Oh shit, that's the wrong one. Yes. All right, so going to Instagram because I am now very curious about this. Uh, Dead Pit. I'll send it to the Dead Pit thing on Instagram. Make sure I tapped it right. Okay, that should be the link there. Make sure I typed it. Yeah, that should be it. Okay, yeah, I sent it to Instagram, and that should be it. Yeah. I know people said it's gory, but so what? I mean, gore doesn't mean anything. I mean, I like gore as much as next guy, but the gore wasn't all that special. Don't get the praise for the gore either. Well, what are the reasons people are saying why they like the film? If you like the film, that's fine. I'm not here to change your opinion. But what are people liking that they think it's a absolute classic? Does what the hell does it have on Rotten Tomatoes? Like 85% of Rotten Tomatoes, and the user reviews are like high and praise. Watch this internet will blow up because you can't talk about Evil Dead Rise that way. I'm too old for gore. Tits impress me more. Well, I mean, I don't blame you, Kentucky Contator. I don't blame you, and I can see your point. I can see your point. 7.3 on IMDb. Wow. Wow. 85%, 80%. 80% audience score, 85% Rotten Tomatoes. Okay. Well, I said people like it. That's fine. I like to engage in conversation. Boobs are better than gore. Well, yeah, you're right. You're right. When you're right, you're right. You're right. I agree with that. No, I've not seen the Titanic animated films. So, excuse me for asking again, who has seen Evil Dead Rise? And if you've seen it, your quick thoughts on it. So, anyone who saw Evil Dead Rise, and then your quick thoughts on what you think of it. Hopefully, I typed it in right. I might. Hopefully, I didn't screw up in typing it.
What's up, Matt?
Hello there. I'm glad your internet is finally working again. So
Me
that
too.
story will be fun. What the hell happened with that?
So, I don't even know where to begin with this
You're
movie.
you're a fan of Evil Dead Rise. When you were in the chat, it's a classic.
Yeah,
It's it's like every film.
I'm
It's a
not
classic.
even I'm not even joking when I say though there are a lot of people that are ranking this movie above like Evil Dead 2, all those, classic films. And maybe I've just gotten to the point where I'm out of touch with like new films, or you know what I mean? Like maybe I'm just completely like out of touch with modern takes on these movies and stuff. But I do not get it. I do not, and I can go through a list of reasons right now why I don't get it, because there's a lot.
So before that,
Yeah.
do you hear why are people giving it such high praise? Are they
Yep.
saying just because of gore? Or are they saying something else?
Well,
Like, what are the reasons?
the number one thing they're saying is gore, and then followed by like that it captures like the kind of dark humor and stuff like that that they had in Evil Dead 2. And
Hmm.
that's kind of the two things that you hear brought up the most. But to me, like that movie has no idea what the hell it is. Like it doesn't know if it wants to be a dark comedy, if it wants to be serious, if it wants to be like gore, if it wants to it's all over the place. And to me, this is just me, maybe it's because like I've seen so much shit, but none of the stuff that's supposed to scare you in this movie works. Like there's a
Mm.
bunch, there's probably 10 different scenes where somebody gets possessed by something and they have like a one liner that's supposed to fucking like terrify you, like that shit about, well, mommy's with the maggots now. And then there's another one where this woman's like, she's eating glass and she's like, well, I've got to eat this glass to kill the creepy crawlies in my tummy. And I'm like, who the fuck wrote this and thought that it was scary? And there's one where a guy like, he gets possessed, but like he's this old, like, I don't know, he's not really military, he's just like an old kind of curmudgeon guy, and he loses his gun and then he like wakes up possessed and he's like, you stole my gun, you cunt. And just all this like cringe worthy, and they're trying to be, I see what they're trying to do. They're trying desperately to do like Evil Dead 2, but nothing, but it's like when they want to be scary and they try to do that, it just comes across as kind of stupid. And then when they want to be funny, it's just not funny. Like none of it worked to me.
So when you said there were a bunch of reasons, like were there more reasons to that? Like was it
Oh yeah, I got a
because
ton.
before you go on, when I saw the trailer, you can't judge because you haven't seen it. I know I'm judging the trailer, and I've seen enough movies and trailers. What made Evil Dead important to me in those three films was creativity.
Oh
When I
yeah.
saw that trailer, I saw nothing in terms of creativity. It felt like
There's not
any
anything.
regular possession movie.
Well, that's another part of the problem too. It's not an Evil Dead movie. It's more like The Exorcist than it is The Evil Dead, to be honest. Like in terms of like the original, I guess two, the whole premise was just, a bunch of people go to a cabin, they open up this book, they read out of it accidentally, like, and they get possessed. But it's not just them that are possessed, it's all around you. So it's like the house is possessed, the fucking trees are
Okay.
possessed, the deer on the thing is possessed. But in these movies now, the ones they're doing now, it's just people are possessed and they're coming after you. And like, I guess you could make like a call that maybe like the elevator is possessed in this one, but that's about it. Like there's just, it's not the same, it's not following the same lines of logic. And I don't know if that's by design or if it's just lazy. I don't know.
If I want to see a possessed elevator, folks, go watch a film called The Shaft. It's got Aerosmith at the end. The guy shoots the elevator with a bazooka. It's got Naomi Watts. It's
That's
got
right.
Michael Ironside.
Eh,
And Psycho Hobo, I'll get to your super chat in a second, but I wanted to, when you say, why do you think, you mentioned before, and I agree with you, when you watch Evil Dead 1, the gore was nice as well for its low budget and time, but I enjoyed moments like Ash and the mirror, and it's made of water, and the projector screen filling up with blood, and all this other stuff. Evil Dead 2, all the animals and lamps laughing at him, and this crazy hijinks with Henrietta doing this weird dance and going into the night. Do people nowadays think Evil Dead is just gore and they think that's just what it is, or is there something else to
yeah.
that I'm missing?
Yeah. Because I think Army of Darkness and Evil Dead 2 got more popular than the original Evil Dead. So everybody, I think, believes that Evil Dead is like a goofy slapstick kind of, I don't know, gore fest, splatter fest kind of movie. You know what I mean? And then it wasn't helped by the fact that Evil Dead 2013 was like super gory for a film that came out around that time and like dead serious. So then everybody's expecting it to be just that way too, just like super gory splatter like effect kind of stuff. The original Evil Dead had some of that, but what made the original Evil Dead amazing was, like you just said, the creativity of it, like the shot designs, the cinematography, the sound design. I hated the sound in this fucking movie too. The Evil Dead Rise, everything is like, it's as if somebody had a mixing board and they take somebody's voice, just like a regular voice, and they're like fucking with it, just pushing it up and down and making it sound like distorted. Like every 5 seconds, it's like somebody's like, "Oh, come on over, Hunter." And it's like all this shit's going on, and these people's voices are all like somebody's got a flanger and they're just fucking with it constantly. It's like that. It's maybe it's like they watched all of the Evil Dead movies and just took out parts that they thought, okay, this is what people like about it, and then just killed it, like overplayed it to hell in Evil Dead Rise. Like that seems to be what was going on.
I do want to ask more questions, but I want to make sure I do this as YouTube makes these disappear because they're geniuses.
Oh yeah, and by
Thank
the
you,
way,
Psycho. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, by the way, hello to everybody that said hi. I was just on a bit of a rant there, and it's good to see everybody.
Uh, yeah, there's a few horror films that take place if like Carnival of Souls back in the day. I think that's in a circus, and there are amusement park horror movies. Was it Hell Ride or Hellfest? Hellfest was one that's amusement park. As for a circus, I mean, technically, Tales from Outer Space, there was a weird type of circus, but
Yeah. Would you
there's
consider
various other.
Funhouse? That's not a circus per se. It's like a carnival, I guess.
Yeah, Carnival.
Circus,
Uh,
Funland. Wasn't there one called Funland that was at a circus? Oh, shit, I'm not sure.
that
It's weird
sounds
because
familiar.
there's parts of them like that one with Tiny Tim. He's dressed as a clown, but it's not necessarily a circus. And like there's parts of
Yeah,
things that I
but,
can think of. But yeah.
so now that you've seen it, is this movie in any way like Demons 2, or is that inaccurate?
That's kind of
Just because
inaccurate.
it's a house
It's not
or
really
a
like Demons 2.
skyrise.
The only thing about it like Demons 2 is that it takes place in a high rise. I mean, like I said, the tone of the movie makes it impossible really for me to like compare it to Demons 2 because Demons 2 is dead serious and this movie is like goofy, just fucking all over the place goofy.
Is it true that in the beginning there's some earthquake and the kid just jumps down a hole and for some reason finds the book?
Yes. So the movie takes place in this high rise that's built at the on top of an abandoned bank vault. However the hell that happens. And an earthquake comes through and like opens up the ground to where they can get underneath there and they go into the vault and they have like sealed up the Book of the Dead in the vault and that's kind of how it begins.
Okay. Well, from what he's saying, this isn't super serious. I guess they're forcing humor in this. That doesn't sound like it works in this movie.
I That's what I'm saying. Like
The
I
way
can't. I don't know what they were trying to do. They're half trying to be serious, and they're half trying to be like campy, funny, which I guess is the same. Like you could say, okay, that's what Evil Dead 2 did, right? It was half serious and half kind of like funny. But none of this shit works for me. Like none of the stuff that's funny is funny in this movie, and none of the stuff that's supposed to be taken seriously is serious. When the serious stuff comes on, I'm just laughing my ass off because it's so hokey. And the funny stuff, you're just like, wow, that's just bad writing. That's just stupid.
Yeah, I'm a bank vault. I mean, that just seems kind of random. A bank vault. I mean, so is this supposed to be in the same universe as any of the films before, even
Not that
the
I not that I
2013?
could tell, even though there's like 500 references to all the Evil Dead movies. Like there's references
Oh,
to Evil Dead 2. But in terms of the canon, no. Like they don't reference anything to do with Evil Dead the remake. They don't reference anything really to do Other than the Book of the Dead, they say there's three different Books of the Dead in this movie, which I don't recall that being like part of the canon before, but they say there's three other ones, or there's three altogether, and that one of them is in this place and one of them is in that place and yada yada yada. So I guess that references like how in the other Evil Dead movie maybe it's another Book of the Dead and then this one's another one and yada fucking yada. Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, one's at this cabin, although I doubt they say it, then one's here. But it's funny they throughout all three movies, there's never any mention that yeah, you could stop this book, but it don't matter because there's two more other books. So
It reminds me of
actually, yeah.
Suspiria, the way they did the Three Witches. So there's like it's exactly what it is, really. There's like this witch that's in New York, there's this witch that's in Italy, there's this witch that's in, I forget where the other one was, but yeah, you know what I mean? So they're scattered out across the globe and you can never really like stop them because they're all over the place.
So you were saying there were other issues you had with the film, other
Yes.
than it seemed like the tone wasn't really, it didn't know what it wanted to be. Were any of those issues to deal with the characters? Because what I've
No,
seen
I want to
reviews, yeah,
I will tell you, Matt,
sure.
there's no way you like this movie. There's no way. Just knowing what I know about you and how you feel about movies, everything about this movie screams to me that you won't like it. But by all means, see it. But form your own opinion and everything. But like, yeah, you want to talk about some horrible characters too.
Okay,
Nobody in this movie except for the little girl, the like 5-year-old little
okay.
girl, who is the best actor in of anybody in this movie, by the way. Nobody else is remotely likable or relatable or anything like that. And the mother does a good job of playing crazy, like possessed or whatever, but like I kind of feel like anybody can do that. As a matter of fact, I feel like that the girl that did it in the 2013 remake, I forget her name, uh, the main one was
Okay.
better, did a better job at being possessed and scary than that girl. But that's splitting hairs, I guess, really.
So what makes them? I mean, you're right. I probably would hate this movie. What makes them unlikable? Is it the way they're written? Is it the way they're acting? Is it like what makes them terrible?
They don't do anything to really have any kind of character development with them. So they show you meet four people at one time, and here's all you really know. There's one of them's the sister who is a roadie tech, guitar tech, and the mother likes tattoos. And I swear to God, I couldn't tell you another thing about the kids. They don't tell you anything about the kids that makes you like relate with. There's really nothing I can remember. I just saw this movie 2 days ago. Keep that in mind. There's nothing that I can remember about any of those kids. And this is the problem with movies these days, too, by the way, other than the way they look. So they've
Okay.
got them all like, you know, super whatever you want to call that these days, alternative or whatever the fuck it is. But as far as their actual like motivations or who they are, they don't spend any time on that, which it's an Evil Dead movie, man, I guess, but I kind of feel like you at least knew like the basic motivations of like Ash and the other people that were, Shelly and a couple of the other ones that were in the cabin. Like you knew kind of like who they were. In this, you just meet them and then all hell breaks loose, and then that's it. You don't give a fuck. Like what happens to any of them?
That's the thing that I agree where I've noticed with a lot of films today is that people say, well, what about this older horror film or that older horror film? What I notice a lot about those older stuff is that even if it's not written as specific as like a Michael Mann film or a Godfather type of film, at least characters either have some type of personality to help carry that through that make them stand out. Like you're not the biggest Bruce Campbell fan, but it also
Hmm.
seemed like you saw that he does have a personality as Ash that does stick out at least and isn't. generic. Or I think of like Night of the Demons. One of my favorite parts of it is the guy that looks and goes, "Yeah, go get me!" And he just goes and jumps out the
They
fucking
fucking running.
window. Smartest guy in any demon movie, and he survives. You need that type of either personality or a certain oomph to really make them stick out. This just screams, from what it seems like, generic at the very least. Generic characters, if
It
that.
it is. I mean that to me, I got nothing out of watching that movie. I wasn't scared. I wasn't like entertained. I didn't laugh. I just sat there and like an hour and a half rolled by, and then I was none. You know what I mean? It just existed. It reminded me of Scream 6. It exists. It's out there. Like I watched it. Am I ever going to watch it again? No. Do I care? No. Like, did it do anything for me whatsoever? No. Did it add anything to the canon of Evil Dead films? No. Like, it will never probably be referenced again. Like, once they do the next one anyway. And I'll be honest with you, man. Like, I don't know how you fall on the remake or anything like that, but I watched that movie like right before I went and saw Evil Dead Rise. I watched the remake, and the remake did a lot of things a lot better than Rise did. It was at least in parts like coherent and scary and had like some genuinely kind of like messed up This is
Mm-hmm.
just annoying people that make annoying decisions, saying annoying things in an annoying place. And it's just that's kind of how I feel about it.
Oh man, the way you described that is how I felt about the first remake. So now I know I will absolutely despise this new movie.
Well, you may love
Oh
it
my
then
god,
because it's completely different than the.
no! With the Evil Dead remake, I think at the end of the day, I kind of just felt this doesn't need a fucking remake, and I didn't really see the point of it. And it's another cabin, and it's a book, and people doing stupid things like this is made out of barbed wire. Let me just open it up and read it. And
Well,
Mr. Genius and
in this one, it has teeth, man. So get ready for that. That's new. The
teeth.
the book has teeth, yeah. And you see,
Oh,
when you try to open it, like it like bites you, and then it gets blood on the book, and that's what opens
oh,
the book. It's got little teethers.
it had that in Army of Darkness, but that was even more for laughs. But
Yeah,
nothing
I
in the
wish.
trailers made it seem as if this is comedic in the trailers and marketing. Nothing in the trailers showcases. So that's even worse that this movie doesn't know what it wants to be.
Yeah, I
That's
just
crazy.
I struggled a lot with this movie. Um, and somebody asked up here too, like, what happened to the? Does it reference what happened to the girl Mia is in the remake? No, like it has no. It
No.
doesn't bring that up whatsoever in this movie. So if you're looking for any answers to that, then that's not going to happen. If you're looking for any answers to anything related to any of the Evil Dead movies, you don't really get it in this.
So it takes place in this high-rise building. Did that seem like just a random gimmick location? Like, did you see any reasons to why that was utilized for this, or was it just it could
I
have
could
fucking taken place anywhere? Or
I couldn't figure that out either, other than just like with Scream, it's just like let's put it in a weird location that you're not used to, like New York, and then in this we'll put it in a high rise. And no, it didn't really like they didn't do anything with it. Most of the whole thing takes place in like the apartment room. So I mean, man, like whoever wrote the ending to this movie, there's got to be it's it doesn't really have an ending. It's just stupid. And that's one thing I hate about films in general nowadays, but especially horror films. Like they never have good endings. They never have an ending that's satisfying where you're like, "Oh wow, I didn't see that coming," or "That's cool," or whatever. It's just some cheap kind of tacked on ending.
okay, you know what? Spoilers. You have to explain what is it about this? What is the ending? What is it for spoilers out there who want to see it? You've been warning right now. So if you could explain that further, what was it about that doesn't have an ending? Like, what do you mean it doesn't have an ending? I get what you mean, but just try to set it up for people to listen
So
in on.
so the beginning it's one of those like Quentin Tarantino things, I guess, where the beginning of the film you are introduced to these characters who you never see again, and this thing happens, and then not to give anything away, I don't want to get into like spoilers or anything, but
Okay.
that only comes back around for about 5 seconds at the end for you to figure out like who this one person is, and that's it. And the actual ending of the movie, other than that, I mean, I could say it, but and give away the ending, but it's fucking stupid, and you've seen it like a million times in other films. I mean, how they end up like. Do you want me to say it? I
Set
mean,
up for a sequel. Like set up for another one, a sequel.
yeah, yeah.
No, you can. It don't bother me. Like I said, if it's spoilers for everyone. Three,
All right.
2, 1 spoilers. You can say whatever you
Yeah,
want on here.
if you haven't seen it, then don't listen to this next part. I'll give you like a second here to just tune out.
2002, 2001, and there you go. You can say whatever you want.
So the worst goddamn thing about this movie, in my opinion, other than all that stuff that I've just said, is towards the end, all of the deadites, what you would call deadites, form into this giant kind of like thing, like John Carpenter's The Thing, monster, where they all combine. There's like 5 of them together. So they got like one head coming out here, one head over here, and they got arms and legs and shit. And they all combine into this thing that's like running after, the main characters. And I hated that so much. I can't even tell you how much I hated that because that's not part of Evil Dead. Like, what the fuck? Like, they meld with her, kind of like that movie Society. I don't know if you've ever seen Society, but they just kind of like all
Yeah,
meld together, like with the main character to form this like blob like thing. And I'm watching this like, oh my God, man. I was so pissed. Anyway, and then they just go down into the basement where the car garage is, and there's a fucking random wood chipper there. Why is there a wood chipper in a basement, like a parking garage? I don't know. But of course, they get thrown into the fucking wood chipper. And that's it. That's how the movie ends.
yeah. I mean, I don't know many wood chippers and random high-rise buildings. Is there a random point that they find a chainsaw for some reason? Because
Yeah,
a lot of high-rise buildings they have a lot of chainsaws.
yeah, she, she excuse me, she finds a chainsaw at some point and then uses it like Ash style on the main villain or whatever. Um, Jesus Christ. I don't.
But that sounds shit.
So I just wanted to come in there and kind of give you that, come in here and kind of give you that idea of like my opinion on that. There's a lot of people that are saying that they love this movie, but I don't get it. If you do, I don't care. Like at this point, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I also don't care if you don't like my opinion either, because my opinion is just what it is. Like I can't bullshit about like trying to say I like everything new, and I definitely didn't like this.
Yeah, I mean, everything you said, everything you pointed out is, I can't say I'm surprised. I mean, when I saw the trailer, my first thought is, where's the creativity? And from I have a friend who reviewed this. His name is Michael King. He said pretty much the same thing you did, and that it wasn't scary, wasn't creative, characters weren't much, and people were pissing at him because
Yeah, they
yeah,
love
it's the
doing that.
best movie ever.
I mean, if you
Listen,
don't
people don't.
agree, I
Yeah,
mean, if you like the movie or whatever, then just fucking like it. And just kind of be like,
yeah.
okay, like this dude's got a different opinion than me. Like I'm not going to get up anybody's ass for liking the movie. I can understand why somebody would like it, you know. It's just I didn't like it. Also, if you want to kill yourself, here's what you do. Take a shot
Okay.
every time somebody jumps up on a countertop and is facing like with their back towards another character, and you will be dead in the first 30 minutes of this movie. There's so many shots of just random like women getting possessed and jumping up on like kitchen countertops with like their backs, you know what I mean? So you can't see them, but you know they're possessed, and then they flip around and like
Oh,
I just how many times is that supposed to be scary? Like I don't understand. Uh, it's a lot of
it's yeah,
a lot of
it's a
cliches.
masterpiece. It's a masterpiece. Like every movie nowadays, it's a masterpiece. Scream Six masterpiece. Like you said, if people like it, that's fine. At this point, I have a good gauge on what I would like and don't like, and everything you just described, including the wannabe thing ending. That I agree. Nothing about that is Evil Dead. That's what my friend said. Like this movie might as well not be called Evil Dead. What makes this Evil Dead? You just take the title off, and that's what it sounds like from what I've heard. And this doesn't seem Evil Dead like the Evil Dead was. So I
Somebody
don't know.
says somebody says so deadites can combine into one step ash called Voltrons. Yeah. Yeah, apparently. So
See,
when I heard you, I think it was you I heard say that somebody had said that this movie was a masterpiece, like I automatically knew it was going to be awful. Because whenever you hear that, you can just like count on it being god awful.
oh yeah, Pizzow had on the community post. Someone had a review that this movie's a masterpiece, and then the person who wrote it mistyped, and the way he typed it sounded like he would jerk off to it, but he mistyped it. I don't know how the hell he worded it, but he was like it was a masterpiece, and I'm saying, like you said, it's like not many movies are masterpieces, and
No,
even if usually it takes a lot of time for a movie to then culminate as a masterpiece, but all out of the gate, it just seems like I mean you can feel that way if you want, but I think it's a whoops. I think it's a bit premature.
I do too. When anybody says that right
Yeah,
off the bat, it's like, no.
yeah.
That's
I
true.
mean, like I say,
That's true though, Matt. That comment is exactly right. Anything new horror wise gets universal praise, it seems like. Like Scream did, and I was like, what are you talking about? Like what fucking movie are you watching? I don't I don't understand like what's going on nowadays. Like I said, maybe I'm just like losing my
that's what it
mind.
was.
Yeah, it will beat you off your
That's what
chair.
it was.
I remember that. Yeah. Uh, And did you
Uh,
see the video, by the way? I don't know if you saw this video, but this is me. So there's a video where they screened it and like Bruce Campbell's in the doing the Q&A or whatever. And a dude just randomly gets up and he's like, this movie fucking sucks. And he like runs up to the top of the thing and they all get up his ass about it. But he's actually right. Like he was probably one of the only sane people in that building.
yeah. Do you think? I know you can't stay long. I don't want to hold you up for any busyness you got tonight.
Oh, I don't want to hold you up
Uh,
either. I know you got other stuff to talk about besides Evil
no,
Dead
I
Rise.
mean you're not holding me up. You can stay as long as you want. I figure you were busy because your internet finally got back, and you probably need to get shit done since your internet just got fixed. You just stay as long as you want. I have no plans. But what I was going to ask is, and I'll get to your super chat in a minute, Bronson. Number one, when do you think this? Because I don't think it used to be the case that a horror film would come out and people just label it a masterpiece off the bat. It was quite the opposite. Number one, when do you think that would change? And number two, do you think that is going to be consistent for the next couple of years, or do you think that's going to die down?
Yeah.
So
I
going back to
think
number one, how do you think
when,
that started?
I don't honestly know, but I can tell you what I think started it was like the rise of YouTube and reviewers and things like that. Because I think everybody wants to champion something before anybody else does. So like I think
Mhm.
that's a big part of it is that people just want to get behind films. And actually too, the less people like the film, the better, really, because if you can be like one of the people that likes this, that you champion this film that nobody else likes, you know what I mean? And then you'll have like a small group of people that will get behind you, and that becomes like your whole gimmick a lot of times, I think too. So I think like general internet reviewers caused a lot of this shit. Like they caused a lot of the problems that we're seeing now just by when something comes out, they immediately call it a masterpiece or they immediately say it's the best thing ever because they want people to kind of come to their page or site or whatever and hear what they got to say about it. And or they're just fucking dumb. I don't know. It could be that or that they're just stupid. I'm not entirely sure. It could also be, by the way, that they a lot of newer horror fans haven't seen a lot of movies. So they don't have a big base of things to like compare it to. I'm not sure. Like if your base of comparison for movies is like, Jigsaw, then yeah, Evil Dead Rise was probably fucking amazing. But if you've seen like a lot of horror films and it doesn't hold a lot of water. A24, a lot of people are bringing them up too, but one second. They're also a big part of the problem as well because now it's getting to the point they in my opinion, I know you hate them, Matt, but in my
No,
opinion,
it's fine.
they were making decent, like different indie style films, and now they've got their heads so far up their ass that they're making like 3 hour long. Everything's 3 hours long. Everything's got to have Joaquin Phoenix or somebody like that in it, and it's got to be like super, indie, just you can't make sense out of anything, and it's just going the wrong direction. Like, uh,
And before I get to the super chat, do you think that will change in the coming years, or do you think it will consistently be this regime we have now of a new horror film comes out, it's going to be called the best ever for about a month, about 2 months until it's forgotten about, or do you think a change is coming? Not sure when, but you would think it would. Something has to burst. Some kind of bubble has to burst. I would think.
well, that's the
Maybe not.
thing. That's the thing I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out like, have I gotten to the point where I can't recognize the type of movies that are going to have like staying power with like a younger audience because this might be one of those movies, man, where people in their 20s right now go back and watch it and they're like, "Oh my god, like this was an amazing, film or whatever. Like this was a classic." I
Mm.
don't know if I've like reached that point or not. I kind of feel like I have in some ways. Like I feel like I've gotten too old to enjoy a lot of these, or just seen too much to enjoy some of these newer movies. But
Mm.
now that being said, um, there were a lot of films that I actually enjoyed that came out probably last year more so. And you talked about that too, like because people are always saying, "Well, you hate everything," yada yada. But that's not true. The truth is just like a lot of times, like the more commercial stuff, I don't enjoy. Like it just seems to fit a specific kind of pattern.
Yeah, like everything's in the eye of the beholder, and there are films I'm surprised by, and there's some films that I'm like, yep, that's exactly what I expected, and uh, just not gonna lie about it. There's no point in lying about it. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna
What was
impress
the
people and shit.
what was the Brad Pitt film on the train? That one surprised me because I was like, "This is going to be a piece of
Bullet Train.
shit." Yeah, and it was like it was great, and
Yep.
I was like, "What?" You sometimes you don't see it coming. You know what I mean? Like you kind of judge the movies, but then so every now and then they'll slip one in on you where they try something different. And it actually like works out.
And before you two misses disappear, thank you, Bronze, for that. I do enjoy. That's a film I do enjoy. That was Peter Jackson before he went the Sally, the Lord of the Rings route, which I'm not a fan of. I know people like, oh, yeah, I can't stand those movies. But that was the last Peter Jackson film I liked. That was his version of PG-13 film, but it got rated R. And he's like, well, fuck, if I knew it was rated R, I would have gone full tilt. And I like Michael J. Fox. I think that's the reason I like it, because Michael J. Fox is one of the last films before he had to retire because of Sally, what happened to him. And I know there's a new documentary coming out about that called Still. It
Yeah,
could be interesting, sad, but interesting. And I always thought that was a shame what happened to him and his affliction. And because I always enjoyed him from Casualties of War with Sean Penn and him. Uh, Even like Doc Hollywood, I can watch The Hard Way with him and James Woods.
I did
That's a very
too.
fun one. So
Secret of My
yeah, I'm a
Success.
bit,
I always liked that movie. That was like a
yeah.
stupid comedy that he did. Yeah,
What are your thoughts on The Frighteners?
I think that movie was
It,
way ahead of its time. I think that nobody knew what to do
yeah,
with it. Like, that's a good example of a movie, by the way, where I think that the scary shit worked and the funny stuff worked better than like something like Evil Dead Rise. But I don't think at the time people knew. They thought it was either going to be like Ghostbusters or, you know what I mean? Like that's what they were thinking it was going to be like. And it was not that. It was like way more kind of like serious and kind of, you know, over the top than Ghostbusters. But I like that movie a lot. Yeah.
yeah. The finale with Jake Busey and everything that go on with was it Dee Wallace? I
Yeah.
want to say it was Dee
It
Wallace,
was. Yeah.
and their natural born killers type of sensibility with each other, and then Jeffrey Dahmer gets his head blown off.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
it's
it just
really dark in spots, like, and people were not like ready for that. I'm pretty sure when you saw like Michael J. Fox in a ghost movie, you weren't thinking it was going to be that. Uh, Somebody asked if I saw Dark Glasses. I tried to watch Dark Glasses about 3 different times,
there we go.
and I could never get through it. Jamal 81.
What
I
was
could
it about that? I
it.
haven't seen it, but I know you did Argento for those on Dead Pit. You did going through many Argento films. Feel free to check them out. What was it about that one that was hard to get through?
I don't like the way that Argento films his movies nowadays. Basically, they look like CSI
Mm.
episodes, and I just hate the look of that. Uh, and he doesn't even really attempt to make films that look like the older, like, you know, surreal kind of Argento movies. So I don't fucking. I try to watch them, and they're all like the same kind of murder mystery, look like Criminal Minds episodes, filmed on digital cameras. I just don't. I can't get into it.
Uh, oh,
Coke.
these are two films that came out recently.
I haven't seen 65. I tried to watch Cocaine Bear. And it wasn't that I hated it or anything. I just got distracted by something else and watched about like 30 minutes of it and then quit. I'm going to try it again soon.
Yeah, uh, I love WCW Full Life. It's Alley. Yeah, I remember those Michael J. Fox too. Greedy, that was with
Mikey
Kirk
with the,
Douglas. Yeah, I remember those.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't think he's
I'm not
the
sure
keyword
what
I asked is Uncle Bill say Lord of the Rings.
I have
I don't know.
seen Lord of the Rings actually.
Okay.
I've seen all the Lord of the Rings movies, but I'm just not, those aren't my bag, but I completely 100% understand why people love those movies. They're filmed amazingly. Like they look amazing. I mean, the storyline in it and stuff is great. They're just not I can't sit and watch movies for 4 hours.
He was just mentioning Bo is Afraid. That was the film he was mentioning about the 3 hour A24.
That's
And
what I'm talking about. Yeah. I'll probably never see that movie. Nothing about that makes me like excited. So I'll probably never watch that.
okay, so he's asking which did you think was worse, Evil Dead Rise or Scream 6? I know that's apples and oranges, maybe, or
God, man.
apples and apples, but
That's fucking, yeah, that is like, I mean, they're both the same type of awful. Like, if you know what I mean, those franchise movies where they're just like cashing in on the franchise and they don't offer anything new. That they're both awful in that way. So I'd say they're both pretty much the same. I didn't enjoy either one of them. I would say I liked Evil Dead Rise maybe a little bit better because it has a little bit more like gore. But
Mhm.
I don't know. That's not everybody's thing either.
But
Uh,
yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Stream Six does deserve to die. But I want to get this easy answer, Bronson. For me, is Ed Wood. I really enjoyed Ed Wood. I thought that was a very interesting movie, and I don't always like their collaborations. I actually didn't mind Sleepy Hollow as well, but Ed Wood would probably be my favorite because I like Martin Landau's Bela Lugosi. I think he. Plus, I'm fascinated by Ed Wood. I'm not into those movies, even So Bad is Good, but it was a very interesting story for me in the way it was filmed, black and white.
I agree with you. Like Johnny Depp is amazing in that movie too. I mean, there's no getting
Yeah,
around that. I would have picked Sleepy Hollow. There's something about that movie that just the tone of it and the way that it's filmed, I always loved. But either one of those two is great.
well, quick, like, were you a fan of Tim Burton back in the day?
Yeah,
Like, okay, like some of his older. So, what do you think happened? Was it like a lot of these directors that it's the way they made films nowadays, or because I look at Tim Burton nowadays, I look at Alice in Wonderland, I look at Dark Shadows, I look at they're just not the same. I don't know if it's just the way movies are made nowadays, or if they just I don't I can't describe it. So like a lot of directors where they just is it some kind of slump, or is it just they have different ideals as a director being older in their career, or I don't know what it is. Just
that's a good question. Like I can't really figure out what the hell happened to Tim Burton. Um, but I can kind of pinpoint like around the time when it happened was like when he started
okay.
making like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and what was the one right before that? Somebody on here is bound to know. But he made a couple of films like back to back where it was like um he got too fucking weird for his own good or something. Like at some point he wasn't even trying to like make anything entertaining. He was just making shit weird for the sake of it being weird.
Yeah, that was around the time he was doing the. See, Sweeney Todd was one, which I mean I've seen worse. To be fair, like I said, Alice in Wonderland was one. That was him and Johnny Depp. Like I said, Dark Shadows. Uh, oh, he
Dark
did
Shadow.
the.
I saw Dark Shadows in the theater, and that's another one where I wanted to like punch myself in the face.
Hey, Tim Burton. It wasn't with Johnny Depp, but Tim Burton did the Planet of the Apes remake with Marky Mark
Oh
and the
yeah,
Funky Bunch.
yeah, that was a good one.
Which, yeah, Abe Lincoln ape for some fucking reason.
Yeah, I think
Which I actually remember the. Yeah,
Dark Shadows might have
Dark
been the one
Shadow.
where I was kind of like, you know how like you have, like everybody has that movie with certain directors where they're like, okay, I'm hopping off this fucking train with these guys. So you know, M Night Shyamalan, a lot of people it was The Happening, but for me, Dark Shadows was like with Tim Burton. Where I'm like, I'm not doing this shit anymore. Like I can't follow you along anymore, Tim Burton. I just can't do it. Like
Yeah, I can't blame you for that. Not a good movie. Um,
I'm betting that Dana probably killed Steve.
so did both of you see Evil Dead Rise, or did
No, I don't think Wes has
so?
seen it yet.
Okay. By the way, Wes,
Actually,
if you yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I actually took my kids to see it to give you an idea what type of movie it was, and they were like laughing their ass off. So I mean, if you're 8, it seems to work. Like
So do you remember what scenes they were laughing? Was it just throughout it, or was there certain such as you remember? You go, it was this scene or this scene that they were laughing a chunk
um,
of.
any of the scenes with the mother they would laugh at just because it was so over the top. There's a scene where you're kind of like watching through the keyhole of this apartment building and she's going around like murdering all these people outside the door in like these really kind of gruesome ways. And there's something about it that was filmed kind of, it was filmed kind of funny and done well, honestly. And they were kind of laughing about that. The stuff where they would say those one liners and I think they were trying
Okay.
to be serious, but like they were dying laughing at that stuff. You know, mommies with the maggots. Now there's something about that that's so stupid that it's just
So this movie that people are saying they fainted and all this stuff. 8-year-olds laughed. They didn't seem
are they
scared
saying people
for what he
fainted
described.
over Evil Dead Rise?
They say with every horror movie nowadays. They did with. I bet right now, in 5 minutes, I could find someone saying it was the scariest movie in years, or at least of the year.
I'd say you're probably right. No, I mean, I don't know, man. I was thinking, when I was a kid, I was the same age as my kids are now, my dad would let me watch like Basket Case and Dawn of the Dead and just crazy kind of, which I think that stuff is 1,000 times scarier than the shit that like that.
So, do you think like a lot of movies, just horror in particular, like those movies you mentioned, they have some kind of personality? I don't know how else to put it. Do you think a lot of them nowadays lack personality, or they lack certain?
Yeah, they lack.
I don't know how else to explain it.
Oh, you're right. They lack writing, is what they fucking lack. Dialogue, writing, any kind of
Yeah.
coherent story that goes from A to B. Um, yeah, any of that stuff. Thank you, Marco. That's nice. Trying to keep my hair, and
Yeah, I'm jealous.
yeah.
Had to shave all this. I
This is a
remember I
good.
had long hair, and then this was like gone. I'm like, fuck it, just do Mr. Clean. Just go for it.
I remember when you had the hair that was long too.
I know, and there's a comments like, "Don't cut it off, man." I'm like, I have to. It's like the toilet bowl is coming up, and I'm like, just gotta do the Mr. Clean thing. I would just be good old toilet bowl right there. And yeah, though that's an example of movies back in the day. You had good writing like that, and they don't have it nowadays. But yeah, I like that movie. Jack Nicholson did a good job. Will Sampson, young Brad Dourif as the stuttering guy. Um, but you don't have movies like that nowadays. Occasionally you do, to be fair, but I don't think it's as often as it used to be. Because like you and Wes talked a lot about the '70s for that reason. I always talk about the '80s for that reason. You guys do as well. Um, I mean, maybe we're just getting too old for this shit. I don't know what it is, but it's just when I looked at the sea of movies of horror, whatever, and I'm like, I'm not excited by upcoming, Found Destination reboots and Scream Sevens and
Well,
whatever,
and that
probably another Evil Dead and
that's all that makes money, though. If you even look at this past
yeah,
weekend, Renfield, I about guarantee you I'm going to like Renfield better than I liked Evil Dead Rise when I see it because it was made like a different, it wasn't like your typical franchise Hollywood movie that comes out, right? But the only thing that makes money anymore is goddamn superhero movies, franchise movies, or sequels. And they just keep
yeah.
making the same types of movies constantly. And I don't know. I don't ever seem to enjoy that stuff.
No, I don't blame you, man. I don't blame you. Uh, and by the way, I just if you ever need to head out, just feel free to let me know. I don't want to keep you if you need to do anything. Just feel free, man. I
No,
don't want to be like, I won't tie him down in the chair and we'll make him do this goddamn stream for as long as I want.
I'm
Because
actually
he has been on the
enjoying
internet because the internet fucked him over.
that's what I'm saying.
Go
I'm
ahead.
actually enjoying like being on a stream. It's been what, almost 3 weeks since I've been able to do anything. So yeah, I don't know. I don't mind it.
No, apparently no. Apparently it wasn't based on what he was saying, and I don't blame him. Is there a scene like my friend was describing this, where a little girl's looking through the keyhole and the mother looks so demonic? But he's like, open up the door, and then the girl just opens up the door and lets her in,
Yeah, yeah, that happened.
even though she's hell incarnate
Yes,
looking.
and it's that
There's that
scene.
writing again.
It's that scene where it's another line too where I just cracked up laughing. Where that scene where she's like, "Mommy, you don't look so good," and she's like, "Oh, nothing that a big hug from you won't fix," or something like that. It's like,
The hell,
you're
man.
really scaring the shit out of me here, guys.
I did like those two. No, they were making a third, then they ran out of money in the middle of it. Uh, I don't need a third one. I like the two as they are. I actually like those more than the Saw films, those two. But I like the lead guy, Josh Stewart, and those films are just more interesting as a story or as entertainment than the Saw films. Like the Collector and the Collection. I think maybe because I'm a sucker for action horror. I just am a sucker ever since back in the day of watching Predator and Sound Rage and all those movies. So that's when that combination. I'm a pretty big sucker for it. So that's I don't I don't need a third one. Uh, I did like Uncut Gems. For those who, even if you don't like Adam Sandler, he did a really good job with that. And that was more intense than a lot of horror films I've seen recently. To be
Yeah,
perfectly honest.
that movie makes me nervous just thinking about it right now.
Okay, so you have seen it.
Oh yeah,
What are your thoughts on the film? I don't
exactly
think you've
that.
talked
Like
about.
I thought I was gonna have
Yeah.
a panic attack watching that movie. Like, no shit. Like that it's so tense and so kind of like frenetic, fast paced. Everything's going on, like, with the character throughout, like especially the last 30 minutes. I thought I was gonna have a damn panic attack. It was just so kind of, it just wears you out, like with the anxiety and the tension of the whole movie. I loved it. I thought it was great, but it just I don't think I could watch it again. It's just not an enjoyable movie for me to watch.
So what do you think of Adam Sandler? This is a very different type of role of him playing.
I thought
Like,
he
what do
was
you think of his performance?
I thought he was great in it, and I thought he was great though in
Hmm,
in
okay.
terms of dramatic roles and things like that. He was great in Punch Drunk Love and stuff like that too. I mean, he's not
Mhm.
a bad dramatic actor really when
Mhm.
they give him something to do.
Yeah, I didn't mind. He did a basketball one called Hustle. He was pretty good in that too. I mean, I probably like Uncut Gems more, but that was a good actor performance. I remember Good Times. I think Robert Pattinson was in that. I remember not minding that.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad movie. Oh Jesus. Ugh.
I
But
don't remember the Wolf Creek
I was getting ready to
films.
say
I just
what I was.
remember.
Wolf Creek
What was that?
3. No, I'm not watching Wolf Creek 3.
What are
Uh,
your thoughts on the other ones? Because I don't
uh,
remember them other than the head on a stick thing and a guy tried to be Crocodile Dundee or something.
so unfortunately, those movies were made during that time period where everybody was doing that torture porn kind of stuff. So, like, I clumped that movie in, even though it's better than these movies with like Captivity and Hostel and oh God, what were some of the other ones?
Teresa's.
Teresa, yeah, like they were making those movies like every week there'd be a new one. It seemed like, and that one kind of came along around that time too. Um, I didn't mind David Gregory's in it. No shit, he probably is. Um, I didn't mind the first one, and the second one, I'm not even positive I've ever seen the second one.
Hmm. Yeah, I Captivity is one of
Mm.
those that, like you guys said it best. I don't know how it got in a theater because it actually was in theaters. If any movie streams direct to video, like the After Dark, Eight Films to Die For, uh, that definitely is one of them. Do you know of that era? There's like one of those films I liked, and it was a film out there, guys, called The Deaths of Ian Stone. I did like that movie because it had an interesting concept, although the effects were wonky. For those who haven't seen it, it's a guy. He doesn't know what's going on, and he keeps dying. But when he keeps dying, he keeps waking up in like a new life, and he's trying to wonder why the hell this keeps happening because he remembers this, but he still has a vagueness to it, and then some mystery of why, who these figures are that are chasing him, why they keep trying to kill him, and anyway, I thought it was a pretty interesting story because it's better than like Mulberry Street, which is about like killer rat people
I remember
or
that
some
movie. Yeah.
shit. But oh yeah, congrats to Wes and you guys breaking the story of Trick or Treat
Oh yeah.
4K.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I forgot it. I mean, to even mention that on here, you probably fucking kill me. But yeah. So I was amazed that Synapse got the rights to that. I don't know. I was telling Wes like they just didn't seem to be the company. Like that's a movie that like Vestron I would have thought would have got or somebody like that would have got. But Synapse getting the rights to it, it's going to be amazing release. I mean, it's going to. I guarantee you, we were talking about it's going to be a steel book. It's going to be. It'll probably be unfortunately in the $40 to $50 range. Like if I know like, but then they'll have a standard edition of it out 6 months later anyway. So it will look amazing and sound amazing though. I guarantee that based on Don May Jr.'s track record.
Yeah, they definitely do good work, and I mean, yeah, they do take a while to get done, but the result is pretty satisfactory
Yeah.
when it does. Obviously, it's not going to take as long as the Kindred, but you think this will be something that'll be within 2, 3 years time, or you just don't know? Because, like I said,
Oh,
they usually take a bit of their time to dot the i's and cross the t's on their releases.
he's saying that he wants it. I think he said he wants it out like early next year.
Oh
So it
wow!
won't be like I don't think it'll be that long.
Oh, he says
Oh, he's
this year
saying
for
this year.
sure.
Yeah. So if they're going to do
Oh,
that, then they're going to do Halloween. They're going to do around October. There's no reason for them to not. If they put it out this year anyway, um, there's no reason for them
that'd
to.
be bad.
Yeah, I was thinking that it was
Yeah,
like sometime next year. Like, but
yeah, count me in because there was a Blu-ray overseas, but the sound was completely screwed up, and you can barely hear the sound of music, which is one of the big points of that film. So
oh yeah,
glad I never bought it. And so, real quick, like, when did you first see Trick or Treat? That
I,
'80s one.
I'd say that's been 15 years ago, and I saw it on a shitty like Walmart looking like bootleg. Do you remember the one that they had? Like, it's a DVD bootleg. There's no official release of Trick or Treat, by the way. Um, it's on like a crappy kind of like bootleg. Any one you get is like a bootleg. So there was one that was like it had a picture of Ozzy and a picture of Gene Simmons on the front,
I
and
remember that.
that was the biggest part of the cover, really. And it was like photo pictures, like just still pictures of them like doing other stuff and some like other, kind of cobbled like Photoshop together on the front of this. And that was the first version of it that I saw. I love that movie though, and the soundtrack of that movie is amazing. If you like you said, if you can actually hear it, like it's really really good.
Yeah, so that's interesting. They've been working on it for a while. Yeah, I mean, if you guys had Sean Clark and he had mentioned it in Michael Felcher, it made sense they were working on it for a while. So this year for sure, I look forward to it. I will definitely pick that up. By the way, Wes, if you're watching, good job on your review on Imprint's Jacob's Ladder Blu-ray. I definitely will try to pick that up sometime because I'm a big fan of that movie. Fuck the remake, but I love the original movie. Bud, I don't know about torture porn.
It's a torture to
That's
watch.
the Wayne
Like,
Friedkin film.
listen, it's a torture to watch that movie. Like, we watched it when I was doing the Freakin' series. So it's probably been maybe 6 months ago, 7 or 8 months ago, something like that. I watched it again. I hadn't seen it since it came out in the theater. That's just a tough movie to sit through, man, because it's just about like two people losing their mind and digging in their skin through the whole thing. And there's not a whole lot else to that movie. So it's a tough.
Yeah.
It's a tough one to watch. I guess you could consider that torture porn, but not really what I consider that. Like,
Listen, man, I don't know. I know it'd probably be as successful as that House Party remake, Guillermo. It came out earlier this year that no one saw. So yeah, why they had to remake White Man Can't Jump, I have no idea. But they remade House Party, no one saw it. No one's going to see this film because either people don't remember the first one, or if they do, you just go rewatch the first one. Why watch this? And then it'll probably be a lot of woke jokes, to be honest, and all this other shit. Uh, oh, no problem, man. Yeah, definitely ahead of its time. That's why I wish they would have done more special features, but I'm curious to give that a look. Imprint Films. For those who don't know, Wes reviewed the Blu-ray of Jacob's Ladder on his channel. Imprint Films had a new release with a few new features, and I can't remember if it's a new transfer or not. I can't remember, but definitely a great movie. I saw that back in the day on VHS, and I actually remember the first time I heard about it, believe it or not, folks, is on Dolph Lundgren's The Punisher VHS. Because
Jesus.
when that film was going to go in theaters, but then the company went belly up. I think it was like Caracol bought video rights, and that was one of them. And so it had the trailer for what was coming out in theaters, and one was Jacob's Ladder. So yeah, I would watch The Punisher VHS all the time because I love that film. What the fuck do you call 125 murders in 5 years? Work in
Dude,
progress.
dude, I used to watch that movie, like, I couldn't even tell how many times I've seen that movie. To me, it's still the best
Yeah,
Punisher movie. Like, I don't care what anybody says. Like, I still think it's the best
it's my
one.
favorite.
Yeah.
Hey, Rich, hope you're doing well, man. Uh, yeah, I love The Punisher from '89. That one, Louis Gossett Jr., I mean, kids are in danger. Dolph Lundgren's taking Yakuza women, just breaking their necks, and just insane, crazy shits happen in that movie. Uh, hey, it could happen this day and age with
It
the
could.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Didn't have YouTube back in the day, so unless he remembers, yeah. I don't know if he.
If he remembers anything we ever did, he probably won't do it.
Yeah, you would think. I don't think he would remember, and because he's going to want to advertise for that movie, that could very well happen. Although it'd be the most hilarious thing because people know your feelings. I mean, like, it would be a definite Twilight Zone moment. I remember that. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
I
Um,
do remember that.
I've probably seen Little Nicky 1,000 times too because my daughter loved that movie for a period. She watched it like every day. So I've seen that movie an unnatural amount of times.
A Serbian film ain't a film. I mean, that's like, to me, Two Girls, One Cup is a film, if that's a film, because that's how I view that film. But he's asking you if you've seen that film,
Oh,
a
Aston
Serbian
Pill
film.
saw a Serbian film. No, and I'll never watch that movie. I've made it a point to say that before too. Like I'll never, ever, ever watch that movie, no matter what. No desire.
Well, people want to ask why. I know why. But if, in case people ask, why? How come you like horror films? I know why, but go ahead.
Well, I mean, everybody has a line, and that's my fucking line. I'm not interested.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I did sadly see it. It's shock. It's a bunch of shock scenes put together. And hey, you have a guy doing stuff to his kid until he's bleeding out of his butt. You have newborn stuff. I'm not going to say what the stuff is, but you know what the stuff is. Stina Matt's newborn. I'll put it that way. That's not a film to me. Like I said, it's like Two Girls, One Cup. Why do you see it? To get people's reactions to shot value. But then the director wants to say, it's about my conflict in my country. Then make a fucking documentary about your fucking country instead of this bullshit. It's
Yep.
like the fucking August Underground bullshit. It's like, I don't need to watch movies
Somebody
where people
brought that
go,
up right when you said it, Matt. Yeah.
lo and behold, I don't need to see movies where people go, sniff his ass. That ain't my kind of movie. They ain't my kind of stuff. Sorry. I'll go
Unf-
watch other stuff.
Unfortunately, I've seen a lot of the August Underground films, but we got them to review back in the day. And Fred Vogel, this is the weirdest thing too. The guy that directed those movies is like the nicest human being in the world, and he was like super nice to us. And so we would review all of his movies, and I watched at least three of those. And I wish I hadn't. I mean, they're exactly what you think they would be. They're made to look like real snuff films, and they've got like people dressed up that are supposed to look younger than they are, if you know what I mean. I don't want to get into that too much. That like horrible shit's happening to them, and like yada yada yada, and it's just I don't know, man. It's not my idea of a fun time.
What would you say would be the merit in making those? Is it to try to steer people? Is it to try to shock people? Do you think there's some other to get a some weird type of word of mouth? What do you think is the
Yeah, he was just trying to get
logical thing?
just same thing with like Faces of Death and movies like that in the past. He was just trying to use like shock kind of tactics, like Cannibal Holocaust, Faces of Death, to kind of get his name on. I don't think he intended to do those movies and that be the only thing he ever did. You know what I mean? And he tried to
Okay, yeah.
transition into more mainstream horror with Red Centaur, which was a movie he did that was a little bit. It was not like a found footage style film, and it didn't take off or anything like that. But I don't think he had any intention of just doing those type of films. He just kind of got stuck doing those type of films. Um, yeah, but what a legacy.
So
Those movies are coming back out like here in the next couple of weeks, I think.
from who?
Unearthed Films, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, they're bringing them out. So
Yeah.
okay, if Fred Vogel was a nice guy, who is the one guy? I was a director that did films kind of like that was trying for shock value, but he was like very assertive or like very combative with people. I'm trying to remember.
Are you talking about Uwe Boll? Please tell me you are.
No,
Oh, okay.
I could, but there's another guy, Murder Set Pieces, that
Oh,
director.
Nick Palumbo. That
Was
was that
he a
guy's
guy
name.
like there's some kind of thing, maybe not with you guys, but with someone else, like some combative? I don't know. There's some kind of drama. I wish I could remember. It's like in the back of my head. Maybe it was with some other people, like some. I don't know. There's like some
Yeah.
reviewers or something. I Nick
Yeah,
Palumbo.
it was with us too. But he just really did not like people giving those movies like negative reviews or talking about really talking anyway negative about those movies. And I think that he would like go after the people that did that in the reviews. He was pretty quickly like
Um,
he pretty quickly got blacklisted from doing anything. And like you never hear about that guy anymore. We were talking about him the other day. He just kind of disappeared off the face of the earth.
yeah, that's kind of for different reasons. But I remember back in the day when you guys did the show, when there's a lot of these directors that you're wondering if they were going to come about, like the director Ron Turn, Rob Schmidt, uh, Dante Tomaselli,
Yeah.
who did. Oh, he was going to do another. He was going to do the new Halloween film. There was new rumor of that.
God, I wish he would have.
What was
Other than Rob Zombie.
and I there was also the guy who did May, that
Oh,
director.
Lucky McKee. Yeah.
Do you think they just had bad luck in the system
Yeah.
or in choosing projects, or were you just ahead of their time? Or
They they came around at the wrong time, man, because like there was a period there where it was a great time for like independent horror films, and then the superhero movie shit hit, and all that stuff just took over. You couldn't make movies like that anymore. Nobody like would finance like, between $5 to $10 million movies. It was either spend like $200 million to make back like $500 million, or spend $1,000 and just like try to make anything. Like that whole like crop of filmmakers who were great, uh, they just got swallowed up in all that. I think like that, making movies on $5 to $10 million budgets, that just didn't exist after a while. But you were like Lucky McKee was great. Um, I loved his movies with what's her name, Angela
That is.
Bettis. Yeah, Angela Bettis. The stuff that he did with her. Dante Tomaselli was going to be amazing, and then he just never got like financing to do his next project. Like he worked trying to get financing on that project for like 10 years, and it never did anything. Um, there was a lot of guys like that though around that time that could have been great. Patrick Ray was another one who we talked about a lot on the show that could have been the next, like, M. Night Shyamalan. He just didn't. He didn't take
What did
off.
he do? What movies did he do, Patrick?
He did um a ton of like short films that we reviewed, and then he did one feature film. Wes, if Wes is on here, hopefully he'll tell me what the name of that was because I can't remember the name of it now. But he was a genuinely talented independent filmmaker.
It seems like some of those directors, like Dante Tomaselli, like if A24 was around, it seemed like he would fit best with those
Yeah,
guys,
they kind of missed it. I think
with
they
those
missed
kind of.
that. You know what I mean? I don't know what he's doing nowadays, but yeah, if A24 had existed around that time period, he probably would have been in that emergency
Okay,
preparedness. Okay.
emergency. Okay. Ooh. Uh, well, he's a bigger fan than me.
Yeah, we'll just say that. I
Which is
really,
fine.
I really enjoyed. Matt's head's gonna fucking blow up. I really enjoyed
It's fine.
Hereditary, and I really enjoyed Midsummer, and um, I don't know. I
Foot
just
that shit. You can't say that. You foot off the street.
right.
No,
I'm
it's
sure
just
people
fun. It's fine.
also really enjoyed shit that people hate, like The Lighthouse. That's really like artsy fucking fartsy, but I really like that movie too.
Yeah, a lot of people like them. So you're not alone. They got very popular with the accolades, and nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I just it's not for me. Uh, I never heard of that story. Being
So,
arrested.
excuse me. There was a story that I believe is true. And there was a story
Oh,
about
okay.
that I cannot remember exactly what happened, but I want to say it was for something to do with pornography. Um, if Wes knows this, he can tell me. So his original idea, I don't know if many people know this, but we've told this story on the show a couple times. His original idea for those movies was to make those movies and leave them laying around um, open places around New York City and places like that for people just to find. And then through word of
Hmm.
mouth, people would be like, "Oh my god, like there's actual snuff films out there that exist," and we found one of them, and then it would get this big like kind of word of mouth thing going. Well, the problem with that is that like 9/11 happened like right as he was getting ready to do that, and so he wisely decided not to try that shit. And I don't even think he could have done it at that point, or he'd probably been arrested. So I'm not sure if it has something to do with that, or if it has something to do with just the content of the films, or he tried to sell them. There's something to it, man. I cannot remember, but I can remember that story like when it broke, but I can't remember the exact details of what it was that he got arrested for. He might have been
Hmm.
through selling it through his website or something. I don't know. Somebody's bound to know
All
that.
right. Hmm.
I have seen Black Roses and Rock and Roll Nightmare, and I love those movies, by the way.
Um, I'll be right back in a sec. Just bear with me on it.
Okay.
I don't want to leave Uncle Bill hanging here, but I just got to get some real quick. But um, oh, thanks, Anthony, coming in here hot. Hope you're doing well, man. Uh, Congrats on the Res Evil stuff. Thanks once again, man. Um, yeah, I'll be right back.
That ain't no problem, man. What are you doing, Tony Bones? You haven't been doing streams lately, I've noticed too. I missed some of the 24-hour streams. Brazzy Filmo Blade or the Crow? For me, it would probably be the Crow, even though I still like Blade. If you had to do a product that failed upon release due to major interference, responsible. Like you and them. I have no idea what that question means. I'm sorry, I'm not able to follow that one. Do I like the horror film Leviathan from '89? I have not seen that movie since probably 1989, so I don't remember anything about it, Preminator. I know that Matt's a huge fan of it, so it's bound to be halfway decent at least. So eventually I would like to watch that again. Um, Anything positive going on in the world? Something different, please. There's always positive stuff going on in the world, Derek Roberts. Unfortunately, it's not going on in the film world, which is just what we were talking about. Other than the fact that Trick or Treat's getting ready to get released on 4K. Terror on Tour, shut up. Horror films, I liked X and I loved Pearl. And I know that, a lot of people, including Matt, weren't huge fans of those movies, but I thought that Mia Goth was amazing in Pearl, and I thought that carried the whole film. X, I thought was just, it was just okay. I love the black phone, Preminator. Yeah. The only problem I had with the black phone was I kind of thought that the ending was a little hacky, kind of the way that it ended. But I love the mask design in that movie, which was done by Savini, by the way. Thought that was like one of the best ones. You can buy that mask now on Trick or Treat Studios, I think. I'm thinking about buying it. Thought the kid actor in it was great. Thought Ethan Hawke was amazing in it. I just really, really liked that movie all around. Anthony, you just got some more streaming. Well, good. Yeah, I just finally got the internet, so I'm actually like able to do anything stream wise now. Um, have I seen Nope? Nope. I tried. I really tried. I just couldn't get through it. I have seen Deep Star 6. I've got Deep Star 6 over here somewhere on Blu-ray disc. Lately, what I've been watching, I don't know why, is like all the Death Wish movies again. Which, by the way, that was an awesome series of movies. And I believe Death Wish 3 is probably like one of the best exploitation films ever made. But Charles Bronson was just perfect in those movies.
Oh, absolutely. Death Wish 3 would be my favorite of those. The
It's
Golden Magnum.
it's kind of a perfect like exploitation style like film. Like it's just everything about it.
But hey, everyone out there, yeah, I'm back. Let me tell you about being in the middle of nowhere.
You don't
There's
have to
always
tell
going to
me
be a
nothing.
problem with bugs, and I hate bugs. No matter how you fit everything perfectly, they always manage to come in, and they're a pain in the ass. As one of those I see, I just gotta go find it, get rid of it. It's just how it is. But that's one of the many joys of living in the middle of nowhere. But sure, no one else has an issue, ever deals with it ever. But is what it is. God damn.
Somebody's asking on here. Favorite horror soundtracks. Um, Anything by Goblin. So like Deep Red, Suspiria, Tenebrae. Also, Fabio Frizzi stuff, like the stuff from Lucio Fulci. Um, Jesus Christ. I'd say if you had like a gun to my head and I had to pick like, one soundtrack out of any of those, it'd probably be something by Carpenter though, to be honest. Like I would either say like Assault on Precinct 13, Escape from New York. Those aren't horror films, I guess, but if I had to go with horror films, then I would probably go with Jesus. Any of them. Halloween, The Thing, um, The Fog. They all have amazing soundtracks.
Yeah, I definitely agree with John Carpenter as a great mood and atmosphere to a lot of his scores in terms of horror. Uh, I mean, for composer and such, John Carpenter's definitely up there. For specific films, uh, it depends on what mood I'm looking for. If I'm looking more for an emotional score, the 1990 Jacob's Ladder by Maurice Jarre is definitely an effective score. I'm thinking of more action, adrenaline pumping, James Horner and Aliens, that score. But for spooky creepiness, like John Carpenter's, like The Fog and a lot of those scores, and The Mouth of Madness is actually a pretty good score. I know
It
Wes
is.
loves that movie for Sam Neill, but I love that movie. I think it's really good. Sam Neill ain't that bad in it. He's not that
No,
bad in it.
he hates Sam Neill, but Sam Neill's actually pretty good.
Yeah,
My thoughts on
but
Scooby
yeah.
Doo.
So
Let's see. I mean, I'm not against it. I don't have any other thoughts about it really. The
did you
worst.
ever?
Go ahead.
Yeah, go
Sorry.
ahead. The worst. You said the worst.
Somebody said the worst Halloween film, which is easy. It's Halloween Ends by far to me. Is the worst Halloween film.
Yeah, that would have to be it. Uh, just for how some people would say, well, it did stuff differently. Isn't that what you want? But this was different in a bad way. I didn't think
Well,
you want to remake a Christine for a Halloween film and effective characters or annoying dumb characters like Corey. It just is that satisfying as part of a trilogy? Is that satisfying as a standalone? Just not satisfying at all, at least not to me.
no. Found footage films. Does Bill Moseley ever do? Yeah, he does them all the time. I'm not sure where he does them anymore. I haven't seen him around the east, like where we're at, in a while. I think he does Scarefest though in Kentucky, and he just did a couple because he's on. We've got him on Instagram,
Hmm.
so he did a couple and not too long ago.
Yeah, and the last, for those who don't know, the last convention he was at, he met Sam Raimi. It was a hell of an experience, as you described it.
It was a hellish
Just
experience. Yes. Yeah.
the Sam Raimi was nice, but just the way they just jerked you around, going from A to B to C, in this smorgasbord of what's that game with the chairs? You
Oh,
get up, get down.
musical chairs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
musical chairs with you.
That's exactly what it was, yeah. But, if I had any advice to people, just don't go to conventions unless you just, like, are just glutton for punishment or you want to, like, just be jam-packed in with, like, sardines and running into people and fucking, like, getting pushed around and being told what to do. It's like prison except with celebrities. So, I don't recommend it, but I had to meet Sam Raimi because he was, like, one of the last big guys that I had met, the big directors, so I don't regret it. He was great. He was great. Oh,
But yeah, Dilemma was asking your thoughts on the whole found footage genre. It's not really genre you guys talk about. Like every once in a while, you mention Blair Witch Project, and you guys are fans of that one. But it's not really a genre you guys really speak of a lot. So, what are your thoughts on the whole genre in general?
I'm not a huge fan of it. It to me kind of peaked really early on and then kind of got worse from there. Because so many people like Cannibal Holocaust is the first found footage film, really. and
Mhm.
it is probably the best found footage film in terms of like looking realistic. Um, and then after that, you of course get like Faces of Death and stuff like that, where they were trying to kind of rip off that idea, but it was fake. And Blair Witch, like you said, and then you get like Cloverfield, other stuff like that. And when it gets to like Cloverfield, that's when I kind of tuned out because it just got too like
Mhm.
shaky cam shit, like stuff moving around all over the place. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, for me, I'm always curious about it, but like 85, 90% of them suck. I'm
Yeah,
always still intrigued by it.
yeah, they do.
But, but those 10, 15% really engage me. I don't know what it just from As Above, So Below to The Tunnel to there's one called Butterfly Kisses, especially when it's like a fake documentary. Like this was more of a drama, Population Zero or Savage Land. Um, Even if you're not into it, for folks, I would recommend Savage Land. It's uh, have you heard of the movie?
No, I've never heard that one.
Because the reason with fake documentaries that it's the curiosity of seeing a real life crime story, but at the same time, you don't have the guilt of, well, these people really did die or disappear. So I feel guilty, but you don't have to feel guilty because you get that kind of both worlds. Pretty much a guy's been found near the border and this town's been decimated. And they think obviously he did it, that he's a killer, a little bit of racist tensions in there. And by then you find that he had a camera. And so people are looking at these still pictures that tell the whole story of this rampage that happened in this whole town, that these figures came across the border. So it's not really footage, but the story's told in that such it was still pictures. They're very, I thought, creepy and effective. And I thought it was like a kind of a nice, different way of telling this idea of fake documentary that the, done like a crime story type of uh, format. I thought
Yeah,
that was interesting. And plus, you don't have the shaky cam and things of that nature. Same with Horror in the High Desert. It was about a missing kid who was doing vlogs, and you find out this mystery behind his disappearance, and they interview his sister and his best friend and what had happened to him. Like, I don't know, for some reason, those fake documentaries are, for some reason, are pretty appealing to me. Uh, he hasn't heard of that guy. It's some commercial office linebacker where it's like it's a commercial, but someone hired a football player to rile up the office workers. Like, I don't think he's seen those commercials, Bobby. But
no,
thank you for that, man.
unfortunately, I don't have television. Like I don't have cable or anything like that. I just stream, use the internet.
Yeah. When did that change for you, the whole streaming thing? Like, what
Um,
kind of made you jump into the point of that from cable to streaming?
Around about 2012 or 13, I would say. I got rid of cable and just went to streaming just because cable was so expensive around here and it sucked. Like, and I found out that you could use like other apps and things like that to download like a ton of movies that you didn't have to pay $1,000 a month for. So yeah,
Yeah.
that just kind of when that all changed.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't watch cable anymore either. I mean,
It's not,
stream, I
yeah,
mean, yeah,
it's not like I'm dying to see Fox News or fucking you. What am I gonna watch on cable anyway?
it's a good point.
Uh, Catch up on my Judge Judy episodes and Family Feud. Like I have no idea what would be on cable. My thoughts on
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I don't blame you either.
I don't blame him. Thoughts on Mario Bava? I think he's probably one of the most influential horror filmmakers ever. Argento copied him. The Friday the 13th films copied him. In terms of like slasher films, he may have made like one of the first modern slasher films with Bay of Blood. Um, super influential. I don't sit around and watch his films a lot, but I can kind of recognize how influential he is. Is the
See,
animal
people are
killing
asking.
in Cannibal Holocaust real? Yes, it is, and that's one of the biggest parts of like people's problem with that movie. So there's a turtle that gets killed in it. There's a monkey, I believe, that gets killed in it. Snake or something to that effect, I think, gets killed in it. It's all real.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of those type of cannibal movies that did that kind of stuff back in the day, which that's one thing I'm thankful they don't really do nowadays. I mean, even the first Friday 13th, there is a snake that does get killed, which I know
Yeah.
they regretted later, but it is a thing that happened. Least favorite Robin Williams film?
Wow, that's a good question.
Hmm. Hey there, Miguel. Uh, I'd have to think about that. I don't know. Um,
That's tough.
I know I don't like Bicentennial Man.
That's what I was thinking of. Like when he said it, that's the first movie that came to my mind.
That
Was
one is
that?
kind of very manipulative, kind of want to be emotional garbage shit. Yeah, no, they did not care one way or
No,
another.
no, I didn't.
They're like, fuck you and your feelings. Just pay us for making the movie.
Flubber. I forgot about Flubber, man. Like I completely forgot about that movie.
Oh yeah. Uh Bicentennial Man, not Bi Man.
It's a whole other movie.
Uh hey Miguel. Yeah, I've heard of Ebola syndrome. I've
Yeah,
heard many people talk about it, so I don't know if it'd be my cup of tea, but
it
you
wouldn't.
guys have watched the
I go
film
ahead and
on
tell
your
you right now.
channel.
Yeah, we did a commentary for it. It's pretty out there, and it's got like a lot of stuff you probably never need to see. Yeah. Um,
Well, we both have seen Salo, so there's that.
unfortunately, I've seen it at least
Yeah.
twice, which is two times too goddamn many. Do I have Prime and Netflix? Yeah, I've got all the apps like Prime, Netflix, Hulu, and then Shutter, a couple of different ones that stream movies, if you know what I mean. Wink.
Oh, thank you, Caleb. Yeah, it's been a good night so far. And Bruce Lee, your favorite movie of his? Wow, Bruce Lee. Hmm. How about you? Like, did you ever watch Bruce Lee like grow with his stuff, or was not so much?
I
Because
didn't
some
grow up.
people,
I didn't grow up with it. That was a little bit before my time, I guess. But um, I've seen a lot of them. If you held a gun to my head and I had to pick like which one I like the most, oh man. Well, I'll put it to you this way: the scene that I like the most, and the one that I still go back and watch to this day, was the Chuck Norris and Bruce Lee fight scene. I'm trying to remember what movie that was in, man. Like,
Way of the Dragon, also known as Return of the Dragon.
okay. That's one of the best fight sequences ever. It's slowed down, I mean, to make it kind of more effective and everything, but still, yeah, like the choreography of that fight sequence is amazing. And of course, you got like Enter the Dragon with Bolo Young, which I didn't realize until I watched Enter the Dragon that he basically just repeated that entire fucking character for Bloodsport. The
Yeah,
lines and
yeah.
everything are almost exactly the same. The stuff that he says. So, I mean, it worked, but it's the same character, same dialogue.
For me, it's a bit of a strange story where one I had heard of Bruce Lee growing up, but I thought he was a different guy because I didn't know about the Bluesploitation films until much later. So the first one I saw was like Bruce Lee, the superhero. I thought that was Bruce Lee. So I'm watching throughout as a kid, watch this movie going, okay, yeah, I like this movie. Sure, I like Bruce Lee. And it's like, no, 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 that's a imitator.
Yeah. Was
And
that the guy
it
that
was
was
just
like
such a
L.I., Matt? He spelled his name like Bruce L.I. Like there was so many like imitators that had different
yeah.
spellings of Lee. So it was like
I want to say that was one with L.E. It might have been L.I., but yeah, there was like Bruce Lee, Lee Bruce, Bruce Leroy. There's a lot of folks of that
yeah.
nature. And some really crazy story. I mean, there's the clones of Bruce Lee. There's the one where Bruce Lee dies and he has to fight the underworld, joining Popeye and fight James Bond and the man with no name. He has some really crazy movies. But to answer your question, Caleb, Enter the Dragon is my favorite of his. I do like The Big Boss, but I also like Way of the Dragon, like Uncle Bill said. So definitely some good. But I would say I grew up more with Van Damme. That was the first martial artist I grew up with was Van Damme in his movies.
Yeah, I think we grew up basically in the same kind of like Seagal, Van Damme, Schwarzenegger, Stallone. Those were all the big like action stars around the time when I was growing up.
Yeah, and yeah, those guys that pop up like Jeff Speakman and things of that
Still,
nature.
still one of my favorite movies. Just still one of my favorite action movies is the Speakman one too.
The Perfect
Perfect
Weapon, yeah.
Weapon. Yeah. Hey, I'm glad he's
Yeah,
living
I
in
know.
Russia. That's where he needs to be. Uh,
Have you seen any of those later Seagal direct-to-video movies?
no,
Like
I think
whether it be the vamp, yeah,
I stopped watching Seagal pretty early. Like I would say around the Glimmer Man. That might have been like the last Seagal movie that I watched, or the one with what was the one with him and DMX?
Exit Wounds.
Yeah, that might have been the last one that I watched.
And those are the better ones compared to the stuff direct to video
Oh,
like
I'm sure. Yeah.
Attack Force or the vampire movie he did where he just wanders his fat ass around with a sword going this and for 5 minutes and then the rest of it's vampires but they act like zombies.
So apparently, I mean, at some point, Seagal lost his mind and is just convinced that he's the baddest ass person in the world, but he's like 300 pounds and can barely move now.
Yeah, and he'll go into interviews with a flat jacket and a gun in his holster, even though it's just an interview. He's just an insane guy. I don't get him. Don't understand him at all.
Favorite James
Um,
Bond movie? That's a good one. I like On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which nobody picks that one, but I'll tell you why. Because I like Diana Rigg, and I watched the Avengers when I was a kid, and so I have a soft spot for that movie. That being said, like George Lazenby is awful, but as Bond, but I like that movie. I also like The Living Daylights with freaking Timothy Dalton, and nobody ever likes that movie either, but I kind of like that one too. Was it Living
I
Daylights?
like that one.
What was the one with Timothy Dalton?
He did two, The Living Daylights and License to Kill.
Yes, both of those actually. Think about it.
Those two are good. I like those. License to Kill is actually one of my favorites. Yeah, I always enjoyed
Which
that
one
one.
had the dude from the Goonies in it? Because that's a great one
Dude
with
from the
Timothy Dalton.
Goonies.
The dude from the Goonies was like the lead bad guy in it. It was one of those Dalton
Oh,
ones.
License to Kill, Robert Davi.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
License to
Okay,
Kill.
so I love that one too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good one. Yeah, underrated one. Ahead of its time. I mean, that was pretty much what Daniel Craig was doing, super serious, but the, Timothy Dalton was doing it first. But I think people were so used to Roger Moore's more fun James Bond that
Yeah.
maybe it's just hard for them to get into a more serious Bond film. But really good one.
But see, those Dalton ones came along like right around the time when I was like ready for those those types of movies. You know what I mean? Like I would have been 10, 12, something like that when those movies came out. So somewhere in that time frame. So I have a like a nostalgic kind of factor for them as well.
And real quickly, thank you, Bobby, but he's never heard of that channel. So sorry. He's never heard of that channel. So
Yeah, Bobby, we're not
sorry there,
batting.
Bobby.
I got a good batting average here, but I don't know. No,
Uh, well, speaking of Bolo Yun, apparently there is a 4K of Bloodsport out overseas,
yeah, I tried to get
which is
that
pretty
today
interesting.
because it popped up on Diabolic DVD for like 10 minutes and immediately sold out. Like they had, I don't know how many copies. And by the time I got to the site, it was like there's 2 copies left. By the time I logged in to like try to get it, it was sold out. So that's how quick it sold out. So fuck them. But I wanted to get it, and it was just gone. But it's supposed to be great in terms of the transfer. It's supposed to be amazing.
Yeah, that's one I'm surprised still hasn't got a US. You would think eventually, because it's such a popular title, but I don't know what the rights are to that in the US. Yeah, I can't tell you.
Me either. I would love to know.
I know of the room. I'd seen it. It is what it is, but I think got to the point it got so overplayed that everyone kept talking about it. I kind of got tired of hearing about it. But I get the what's fun about it. Just again, people kept hyping it up. It's like, okay, yeah, I get it. He
I
done
kind
me,
of
all
I
that
kind
stuff.
of feel exactly the same, to be honest. I watched it one time as kind of like a lark, and that's it. That's all I need to see it.
I don't know why they don't do it. Probably rights issues.
Yeah, it is.
You know, we'll see. I mean, Trick or Treat got one. Maybe one day. It just depends how the rights are. Uh, Speaking of which, on the 4K format, do you think it will have uh, a much longer life, or do you think it'll be a shorter life compared to Blu-ray and DVD? Were
I read an article recently that was talking about where Netflix canceled their DVD service. I didn't even know Netflix
Hmm.
had a damn DVD service, but apparently they were still doing the mail to your house DVD stuff along with the streaming, and they canceled that. And basically, what they were saying was is that that's kind of a what's the word, like a precursor to physical media kind of dying out. So
Hmm.
in other words, by them doing that, they're giving up on physical media, which is kind of like the canary in the coal mine, where if that dies, then pretty soon, like everything else, kind of like follows after that. And
Hmm.
I don't know what to make of it because people have been saying physical media is going to die for 10 years now, and it never has. So there's this small group of people that just collect 4Ks, a really really small group of people, and they keep that going, and they keep these boutique labels going. I don't know how much longer that can work, though, to be honest. I don't give it 10 years. I'll put it that way.
Hmm. Well, I think definitely when this generation, I want to put it in a better way, but once it dies out, I don't see their kids. I don't know if they would be as fascinated with physical compared to we were. Like, do
Yeah.
you think like your kids will be as interested in physical media like you were and
No.
are? No.
Like I wonder about that sometimes too. Like I've got all this stuff and my plan is to eventually like bequeath it to them, right? But I don't know if they'll give a shit. They could just be like, it's just a bunch of junk. Like, you know what I mean? Like cuz the movies and things like that, like physical media to them is nothing. They don't have any connection to that stuff. So, I
Hmm.
doubt it. I doubt they'll give a shit. I doubt that kids of that age will give a shit as well. By the way, Total Meltdown, I would put Running Man in my top 5 dystopian movies. I would have it right up there with Mad
Yeah,
Max and freaking Escape from New York and things like that.
yep, it would be on my list as well. I think those are good ones you mentioned. Demolition Man, different
Yeah,
kind of dystopia, but
yeah,
definitely. So since like on Dead Pig, you guys talk understanding more about horror. It's a little bit about action.
sure.
Are you a big action fan? And what got you into that genre back to the day?
Same stuff, like video rental stuff, mostly like Golden Globus, Vestron, stuff like that, like the old companies. Man, I spent. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. I've spent the past 2 weeks because I've got like a little setup in here where I watch 4Ks and movies and stuff, and I've just been watching like old horrible action and like I watched The Barbarians. You remember that movie with the Barbarian brothers? I watched that. I watched all the Death Wish movies. I watched Midnight Hour. I watched Silent Rage again. You mentioned that one. I watched that one. I just been on this action kick lately because I got like a bunch of movies from Kino Lorber and a bunch of different stuff from that sale in, and I've been watching more action lately than I have been horror films actually. So yeah,
So, when you look at action films today, do you think they're in the same realm of horror? Do you think one's doing better than the other? One's doing worse than the other? I'd probably say probably horror's doing worse in terms of quality than action. But do you still seek out action films like Bullet Train you mentioned you liked, or is it more just the mainstream's not really cutting it the best and maybe look elsewhere?
I
Sort of
have
your thoughts on that?
yeah,
Yeah,
I have like weird taste. So for like instance, I'll watch any piece of shit like Liam Neeson movie that come like they put out. I don't care what it is. All the direct to like streaming shit that he puts out, I'll watch. Um, and the same kind of thing too for like I'll watch any of um those Denzel movies like the
Equalizer,
Equalizer, like movies like that.
new one coming out.
The John Wick movies, like anything like that. Yeah.
Cool.
Now the thing about it is like I don't know a lot about some of the more what would you call them, like obscure ones like you know about. Like you get into the
Or
deep dive like video stuff from the 80s and 90s that I have no like action films that I have no idea about. But I am a huge fan of them just in general.
Speaker Bit Witch, random one, Taken to Beverly Hills, starring Ken Wall.
Oh my
There you
god.
go.
The football player? Yes.
Boomer,
Yeah.
football player.
Yep.
Touchdown, asshole. Yeah, yeah. Robert Davi, there you go, as the villains.
Yeah, he's
I
always
remind me
in
because you
he's in
mentioned
like
Robert
every
Davi.
one of those movies in the 80s and early 90s, yeah.
And killer soundtrack. You got Epic's Faith No More. You got Janet Jackson. You got some crazy songs on that soundtrack. There you go. Matt Frewer from Matt's Headroom is the sidekick cop to the football player. I
Somebody
ain't playing
mentioned
defense anymore.
somebody mentioned him too. He was in the Stand. Somebody mentioned that, but he was also in that. He plays like the
Oh, that's
crazy,
right.
yeah. It's a guy you don't
Which
ever
did
hear
you ever
about.
see that new one of The Stand?
I tried to, but I couldn't watch it. I couldn't get through it.
I agree with that, man. Yeah, I enjoyed all those as well. Boss Level that had
Yeah.
Mel Gibson in it. Yeah, I enjoyed those.
I like those movies.
Um,
There's a guy, I can't think of his name, Matt. You'll probably know him.
okay.
He did Brawl in Cell Block 99, Dragged Across Concrete. That's hard to say for some reason. Bone Tomahawk. He did all those movies,
Okay.
and I loved all those movies. Those are more like extreme action films, I guess, like with gore and shit in them. But I enjoyed each one of those too. Those are newer ones.
Yeah, he did play a lot of villains.
Yeah.
Uh, in fact, he was in like the last time I saw him was Expendables 3. Sadly, he was in that shitty movie.
That is
Uh,
sad.
and now Arnold Schwarzenegger has his new TV show Fubar coming out, which I'm sure. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's the name. Yeah, that's the director.
Yeah.
Yep, Raw and Cell Block 99. There you go.
He was in Maniac Cop 2, Jack Frost. Robert
Yep,
Davi. Yeah.
yep. 2 and 3. One of the times he got to play a good guy. And yeah, Bobby, I agree. I enjoyed Willy's Wonderland.
Hell
That was
yeah.
a fun one with Nick Cage. Got the Blu-ray right over there. Um,
People
and
they
now they're
don't
making
give
the Five Nights at Freddy's.
yeah, of course. People don't give Willy's Wonderland enough credit though. That movie was great. And he never spoke a word of dialogue in it, but it was still amazing.
Yeah, that made it pretty interesting, pretty different from what it usually is. Uh, I'll probably be calling it. It's about 10:30.
Oh yeah.
They're going for 2.5 hours. First off, want to say thank you for coming by. I know it's for a little bit to talk about Evil Dead Rise, but thanks for
Yeah.
sticking around, man.
I stayed way too long, man. I apologize.
Nothing. Probably, I loved it. Chat loved it too. Loved it. But what you got coming on your guys' channel? Because now
Uh
that you finally got internet back, and it seems like you guys have a lot of stuff going on, so feel free to plug your stuff, man. At Dead Pit Radio.
yeah, so on Thursday we've got the Lost Media episode coming up. So we're doing a show talking about like lost media from over the years. So it could be anything from like talking about that there's lost footage of the news anchor that shot herself on television that's never been
Oh yeah.
seen to all the way up to like the lost footage from like Friday the 13th part 7 that's never been put in. Any kind of like lost media, lost footage kind of stuff. We're going to do a show kind of talking about like all of the different films or different parts of films or different things that have never been put out officially or never been seen. So that's the show on Thursday at 10. And then after that, it's the next thing we're going to be doing, I guess, is Friday. We're going to be doing that Q&A at 10. Um, I asked Mark about it. I don't know if he got back to me or not, though. Let's see.
So yeah, the he mentioned is it 10 p.m. Central or 9 p.m. Central?
It'd be 10 my
Like Central
time,
Time.
9 your time, I guess.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So be 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern, or however you want to put it. Definitely check out Dead Pit, and I'll be on there with Uncle Bill. Um, I'm trying to see if you guys had anything else coming up. Like I said, definitely check out their
Oh,
stuff. They've
well,
been doing streams, and yeah, go
well,
ahead.
the big thing we got coming up, but it's a ways away though, is we've got the interview. We're good, and Wes mentioned this on the midweek show too. That's coming. We got an interview with Don May Jr. and Slippy Michael Felsher about the new Trick or Treat release. So Don May is of course from Synapse. He's doing it, and then Michael Felsher is doing the special features. So we're going to be talking to both of them. I have no idea when that is. I should know when that is, but it's within like the next 2 weeks. I'll say that. But
And are
just
you
check us
guys
out.
doing anything part of the May of the Dead? Is that a
That's part.
ongoing thing or?
That's part of the May of the Dead is
Part of
that interview. Yeah.
it? Okay. And then are you guys still going to do that wheel thing? That
Spin the
wheel you
spin the
spin
wheel,
the
make the
wheel.
deal. Oh, of course, yeah. We're gonna keep doing that. I don't know when we're gonna do that again. It'll probably be this month at some point, but I don't know when exactly. I never know when. I never keep up with dates or shit. Just go to the YouTube page, go to the Instagram page. Like he puts all the stuff up like way in advance. So that's the best I can do. I'm horrible with dates.
Uncle Bill's channel is Dead Pit, and I will try to put it in the chat. because I want to make sure. Uh, Definitely check it out. Just type in Dead Pit on YouTube, and you guys can find it. Part of Dead Pit Radio, and I want to make sure I get this right. As for me, uh, since someone has sent in a request, I'll be back here tomorrow. Maybe with Stuntman Mark. I still have to message him to see if he'll do it or not. His last minute, but if not, I'll be solo. And it's a request for me to watch Alien Resurrection, which is great for Alien Day.
Are you
Because
looking
it's
forward to that?
426. Oh yeah, but that is in the chat, and when it pops up, I'll put it on here real quickly. Bobby, thank you, man. Um, I guess I could see that because he doesn't talk and he kicks a lot of ass. I could see that in Willy's Wonderland, sure.
That's true.
But let me just here you go. That is the guys' channel. They also have a website, Dead Pit Radio. They also have a Patreon. Definitely check them out on their channel as well. Uh, yeah, they do a lot of great stuff. They're wonderful guys that have known for well over a decade now. It's crazy. So they've invited me on their channel quite a few times, and like I said, it's been a lot of fun just shooting the shit. And I look forward to the internet story. I look forward to what the internet story is.
Buddy, it's a story. It's a long, wonderful story. But yeah,
So
thank you
if you
so
want to
much
check,
though for letting me come on, man.
no, it's a lot of fun. I loved it. So again, this Friday, 9 p.m. Central. Go to that link down below, and all the streaming stuff. Check out, subscribe, however you want to do it. And thanks for having me, man. I mean, I'm so used to saying that, and I don't invite people. Thanks for taking the time, man, and for everyone out there, have a good night. Take care, and we will see you guys later.
Yeah. Thanks,
Have a
everybody.
good night.
See ya.